When he opened his eyes again, he discovered that I had reincarnated into a fantasy world. Looking up, I saw a quiet ceiling. Instead of the dim light of LED lights, there was dim candlelight. This is a fictional world where it is still extremely backward compared to Earth. This is probably the house of a well-off family. For a homeless orphan like me who died from overwork, this is a pretty good place to be reborn. Thinking of this, he spoke like a child. Then he thought, well, there's one more reason why I think I was born into a well-off family. This child's mother is extremely beautiful. His mother smiled emotionally and looked down and said, my child. Luckily, he thought, it looked like I wouldn't have any problems with my love life in the future here. 3 years later, he is standing in balancing. He stood looking out the window thinking, I saw the outside world for the first time through the window outside my crib. Looking outside, his eyes lit up and exclaimed, oh, this really is a different world. After thinking about it, the world outside my cradle is indeed extremely vast, but I'm still just a kid. While thinking, suddenly someone came and spoke loudly outside the door. Boss, he thought on, but my little expedition ended quite quickly. The maid came and carried him down and said, Master, it's very dangerous, your father, the Grand Duke, will. He raised his eyes and said sorry to her. He thought to himself, I learned that my family belongs to a family with Grand Duchy lineage, and my family's reputation resonates throughout the kingdom. I am the son of Grand Duke Dragonier in the Leonheir kingdom, so I also have the title of Duke. 8 years old when he received the sword in his hand. He said, I started learning swordsmanship so I could become a knight for the kingdom in the future, a fantasy knight, where I will be able to use sword energy and aura too. And my teacher is a knight sent by the palace, the holy knight Mr. Gothic. Mr. Gothic looked at him and smiled and said, I'm sure this is the goddess's wish, teaching this boy will bear fruit. Nice to meet you, Leon. Leon wondered, a paladin? Then he smiled back and said hello, please advise me, Mr. Gothic. Leon then lamented thinking, what is this? At the age of 14, Leon was carrying a heavy object on his shoulder and gritted his teeth, that damn Gothic guy, this was child abuse and nothing more. He cursed in his mind, a paladin was truly a monster in human form, and it was extremely difficult to be recognized as a paladin. Outside, Mr. Gothic observed and said, one more round. He said, you will need to complete the quest through training, becoming a knight of the kingdom through experience and honor. Being chosen by the Holy Grail and receiving holy water, from then on he practiced even more actively. Additionally, as Dragonier's son, I need to acquire all the necessary knowledge to become a Grand Duke. Mr. Gothic knocked him out and said to pay close attention to the opponent until the end. He was knocked out and screamed loudly, "Hey!" The lessons to be able to inherit the role of Grand Duke are increasingly piling up during the days of training to become a paladin. If God is really up there in the sky, I want to ask him to come down here and save me. Even though I'm not religious, thinking about this, Leon was helpless enough to lie on the ground facing the sky. 16-year-old Leon walked in the rain. He muttered, "It's around here somewhere." Leon continued, "I traveled around the world so that I could receive recognition from the goddess and become a paladin after carrying out my mission. So how can I receive recognition from the goddess? The answer is, if you keep working hard at doing good deeds and improving your reputation, the goddess will soon knock on my door." It sounds ridiculous, there's a fire going on in that village, everyone's shouting, "Help me, there's still a lot of orcs coming." Some say, "Lord Zidu, there are too many orcs to fight back." The person next to him held his sword tightly and said, "Is this the end?" "Ah, goddess above, please protect us." He came here to think, but there are countless opportunities for me to swing my sword and fight. This is the reason why I feel most worried. Thinking about it, Leon shouted loudly, "This trash, how dare you trespass into this kingdom's territory with those stinking bare feet?" The monsters turned their heads to look. When he saw Leon rush in and cut it in two, he concluded that the kingdom had too many enemies. At the age of 20, Leon stopped. "I was surprised to see that I had met the goddess, so they weren't lying, she really is a goddess." The goddess clasped her hands and said, "You are Dragonier's son, Leon. I will give you a mission so you can prove your honor and faith." Leon knelt at the feet of the goddess and said, "I take orders from you, Goddess Asiana." He thought, the goddess really exists. And after working like a slave for many years, I finally became a paladin. After that I just kept killing and killing again. I exterminated orcs, slashed Golan, and dealt with the evil cults. After all, I became a warrior knight of the kingdom, which gave me the power to call other knights. I slaughtered 700,000 orcs. These damn green bastards, I feel so refreshed. At the age of 35, the living and demigod King Leon Ha passed away. That heartbreaking incident happened while fighting against the demon king summoned by the imperialists. It's already enough of a headache to deal with orcs alone, now you've got these wretched demons running around on top of that. This is the reason why people need to believe in gods and live with faith. Those damn magicians from the empire, leaving that aside, they needed to elect a paladin to continue the position of King Leon Ha, who died honorably. Amidst that chaos, the goddess appeared, and among those knights she chose me. The goddess said, "Paladin Leon Dragonier, my order of knights full of faith, who has successfully become a symbol of honor and faith." He finally agreed and replied, "Yes, Goddess Asiana." He thought, "I am in a position both honorable and exhausted, but I cannot let the people of the kingdom as well as the knights under my command feel disappointed. I absorbed the sacred treasure lion's heart from the goddess and swore to protect the Holy Grail. Leon put the crown on his head and said, and that was how I became Grand Duke Dragonier and next in line to become king of the Lianha kingdom. At 80 years old, a lot of things happened at that time. There were great wars with the orcs. The hunchbacked golems evolved into great demons. And the Empire makes things even more confusing. A knight came to speak, Your Majesty, the Empire's Magician Academy is starting another experiment. Leon thought silently, all of this is because the Imperialists accepted those bastard heretics from the north. How dare they run away from the gods, these bastards? He gave orders, summoned the knights, then thought again, this is the result of giving human rights to people who are not even worthy of being slaves, we should deal with them immediately. At 96 years old, those damn Imperialists finally did it. In the depths, there are people who cut off the heads of gods and throw them to the ground to spread evil religions to each other. The person standing on the podium spoke loudly, we respectfully offer you 3 million souls as a sacrifice, please grant my request. He said, they spread the meaning widely, the emperor has gone too far, the bastard always said he didn't want to die, committed suicide along with the lives of 3 million people in the capital. And summoned the Lord of Chaos right in the capital. In the end, I summoned the knights with the holy sword that was still barely dry, orc bloodstains still lightly glimmered on the blade from last year. When preparing to go to war, Leon said, let's march to the Empire. At 121 years old, I tried my best, but sadly the world is still destroyed against my will. I did my best to be able to defeat all the evil that existed with all the divine powers available on this continent. But I couldn't do it. While sitting on the ground, a knight approached and spoke, Your Highness Leon. Leon said, Mr. Aizen, you can hold your head up proudly, your father died with honor and joined the gods above. Mr. Aizen replied, yes. Leon said, O goddess, the whole army looked in front of you. Your steeds are trembling with fear, the women tried to bury their cries deep inside, and the children swallowed their tears. Do you hear the voices of the villains echoing throughout heaven and earth? They, the ones who took away our brothers, the younger generation, carried with them the weak flame of resistance in their hands, and the knights tried to sow seeds of hope in this bloody wasteland. Do you hear the voices of those who took away those we love? But my goddess, the owner of this holy sword and holy grail, Leon mounted his horse and looked down at the army. Do you hear the sound of the enemy, who is trying to take over everything on that path? Then he shouted loudly, be angry until the last moment. Let's direct that indignation towards the fools, immersed in the illusion of glory. I, your knight, will not be able to stop the evil that is spread across the land as far as the horizon. And remember, as long as honor remains we will not lose. Oh goddess, oh my goddess. What should this stupid knight do? For the goddess, for the honor, the goddess whispered, oh my knight full of honor and hidden in love. Your goddess will be by your side until the end, my knight. Because of this Lianha, finally Lian Hovang, the entire army attacked. That winter, we fought the final battle with the thousands and thousands of demons that flooded this earth. The barbarian slaves were used as worthy neat shields. And while my knights, armed with spears and shields, died with honor alongside those heroic knights. And, the one chosen by the gods in those countless shrines, single-handedly recited the code against the demons to the end. I have torn apart countless demon lords and demon generals. And show those bastards the power of a paladin. At 217 years old, winter is not over yet, then in 231, 234, 256. And in the exact year 256 I destroyed the last ghost gate, they have nowhere to hide. Leon looked back at the monsters with fiery eyes and shouted loudly, you lowly followers of the devil, now you will be stuck here with me in this very world. I will kill you all without sparing anyone, I'm not stuck. It's those bastards who are stuck here with me, you scoundrel bastards. At the age of 300, the biggest monster was slashed, and it let out a cry of pain. Outside the gate where the monster collapsed, someone asked, is Hajiko okay? Haji asked, what happened? Everyone looked at the monster's body and said, he defeated the great demon in just one blow. The monster's head was separated from its neck and was lying on the ground. Leon spoke up, wake up, hero, there's no time left, please wake up. The girl asked, who are you? He replied standing next to the monster, I am King Leon Ha. Knight among heroic knights, and the one who carries the faith and will of the shrines. Leon Dragonier Leon Ha. After saying that, he turned around, without any clothes on him. The girl saw him open his mouth wide in surprise, and in the 300th year I met mortals. You have destroyed all demons, the remaining demons, the King of Knights has returned. In modern times, a gate has opened between Seoul, the Black Gate has an unknown level. The Korean Hunter Association and the World Hunter Association requested the nation's grand guilds to participate in the raid. But the request was denied because no one knew about the difficulty of the gate. Everyone looked at the gate in confusion and fear. After all, the government ordered the Hunter Association to go in first, which was basically a death sentence. And, within that gate, what I saw inside was a naked man. At that time, behind that person were all the corpses of monsters, and at this moment a voice rang out, Haji, Assistant Han. Loud calling voice, hey Han, Haji, she woke up. Kim Jin-soo asked, handing over a cup of coffee, are you tired? Haji said, accepting the cup of coffee, yes, thank you. Jin-soo sat down and asked, how's it going? Haji said, no one believes it. Jin-soo replied, well, that's understandable. It is a black demon gate, there is even a great devil in it. Being able to come back alive without the help of other guilds was a miracle, but cleaning it up is impossible. It's all thanks to just one person. At this moment, Leon was sitting and staring with a face that couldn't be more uncomfortable. Outside, Haji listened to the conversation in the other room and asked, are you a survivor? Step out from the gate. Kim Jin-soo replied, yes, a survivor came out from another world. In the past, there have been some cases where humans were able to survive inside the gate. The gates that have appeared around the world 30 years ago have many similarities. The theme of the gates is a world that is on the brink or has already perished. And sometimes the survivors return to Earth wielding the unimaginable power they gained in the demon world. That's why the government always tries to please the survivors and plans to recruit them. Han Haji said, we must recruit them at any cost. That person, he is incredibly strong. Jin-soo propped his chin and replied, at any cost. Even an A-rank hunter had to put his life on the line when fighting a high-ranking demon. He killed the great devil with just one attack. A monster that even the most experienced S-rank hunters fear. Not only did he kill it, at that moment Leon slashed the monster without giving it time to counterattack. Then, under the astonished eyes, the monster's head fell down. Before the rest of his body could fall, Leon was standing next to him. Jin-soo said, he completely overwhelmed it. At that time, Leon's eyes were emotionless and strangely calm. Jin-soo thought of the image of Leon wearing a crown and a cloak. Well, what I'm most worried about now is cultural differences. From the way he talks about himself, he must be royalty or something. Haji spoke up, I think it will be okay. Kim Jin-soo asked, why do you think that? She remembered his face when fighting. I can feel it from his voice, he is an extremely kind person. Before he could finish his sentence, there was a screaming sound in the other room, lower class name. After hearing that scream, the glass separating the two rooms shattered immediately afterward. Haji and Jin-soo suddenly thought, breaking even the glass can stop monsters. Leon stood up, magic power surrounded him, he gritted his teeth and said, how dare you tarnish the noble name of Leon Ha? Jin-soo saw that scene and asked, that extremely kind person? Haji said, avoiding eye contact, cultural difference for sure. 15 minutes later, under the filming camera, the two people were still sitting facing each other and talking. Leon thought, it feels very strange. Sure, I was an orphan who worked hard throughout my 20s and died of exhaustion. Then I was reincarnated into another world, becoming the king and knight of a kingdom for over a century. After conquering the demon world, I hunted demons for 200 years. A total of 300 years. It's also a bit of a relief that I still have some memories of this place. While thinking, the person sitting across from him spoke up. Hello, you are Leon Dragonier Leon Ha. Leon stared thinking, even so, it wouldn't be beneficial for me to reveal the fact that I used to be an earthling. Isn't it a night king who lived 300 years in another world? Much better than a guy who died from overwork at age 20. Thinking about it, he said with a stony face, call me your majesty, you country bastard. The person opposite was stunned for a moment. Then he rubbed his head and replied, ah yes, your majesty. He also thought in surprise, he followed my words. Is he really a good person, or is the government just cautiously approaching survivors like me? Then that guy continued, well then. The Black Gate, I mean your majesty's world, has been in conflict with our hunters. And you killed all those demons, right? He replied, right. Then Leon asked, have you forgotten? Hearing that guy didn't understand and looked up and asked, sorry, you mean? Leon said seriously, I killed the entire demon race and protected the honor of the knights. I order you to be my temporary secretary. I will grant you the privilege of recording this noble event. Even though that guy still didn't understand, he still answered, yes, yes, yes. Then he muttered to himself, cultural difference. Leon then continued, anyway. Is there no royal welcoming protocol here? What he means here is that I'm hungry. Hearing that guy panicked and took out his phone to speak urgently. You must be hungry. You must be hungry. I will prepare a meal immediately. Leon continued, and tell me about this world. He thought, I need to find out what happened to the earth when I disappeared. That guy lifted his glasses and spoke, oh yes, I will explain. Then he started talking. The nightmare suddenly began, since 30 years ago. Gates opened all over the world, monsters and demons begin to appear. Since then, we have been in a constant state of emergency. After suffering many failures, we realized that each gate has a theme and a task to solve. and if there is a gate left untreated, a dungeon explosion will occur and monsters will invade the earth. While I was talking, there was a knock on the door and the guy stood up to speak. Looks like dinner has arrived. When the other guy took the food, he raised his hand to think. I think, there is a little difference. In my world, evil invades like mushrooms growing after the rain. But this place has gates with themes and quests. Thinking of this, Leon raised his eyes and guessed, as if wanting. Training humanity through such challenges. After guessing, the other guy came in and spoke, Your Majesty. The meal has arrived. In his hand, he held a tray of food that was still slightly hot. When that tray of food was placed in front of Leon, Leon frowned and thought, this is it. Bones stewed for many hours seasoned with salt, pepper, and a little crispy kimchi. When he was a worker on Earth, Xiaoliantang is like spiritual food to him. People prefer such dishes rather than new dishes. But Leon had to restrain himself and try to swallow his saliva. I thought, no. After thinking about it, Leon asked, what is this? The other guy replied, well, it's Xiaoliantang, Your Majesty. It is called the spiritual dish of the countryside. Hearing that, Leon immediately shouted loudly, You lowly man, you dare to tarnish the noble name of Leon Ha? How dare you serve the royal family the food of peasants? Is this how your kingdom treats another kingdom's royal family? In his mind as Leon Dragonier Leon Ha, king of the other world, messenger of the gods, guardian of the Holy Grail, owner of the Holy Sword and Holy Spear. The other guy tried to explain, oh no it's not, but Leon is getting bigger, get out you lowly farmer. As for Malos, the Lord of Chaos and the Lord of the 2 or 3 great demons, the great rival of the demons, the one who killed millions of demons, the embodiment of the 300-year war. And finally a false regression, what he thought when he returned to Earth after 300 years is this, a mess. It's all because they don't have a proper religious faith. Enlightening stupid countrymen is the royal duty. Even though he has returned to Earth, he is still a night king. Leon solemnly cut out the steak. He took a bite-sized piece and put it in his mouth. Haji and Jinsu watched him leisurely eat. Jinsu asked, how did you recognize our chicken and black bean noodles? Haji sighed, thank goodness he's eating T-bone ribs and drinking 1993 red wine. Jinsu pushed the job to Haji. Haji, you go first, Haji said confusedly. I don't understand what ancient language is, Jinsu replied, but I think he seems a bit more interested in you. She has been praised as a brave person, at least he won't kick her out. Haji is still hesitant, he just said I was brave. After a while, the room door opened. Haji shyly said at the end, Your Majesty, I sincerely apologize for interrupting your meal. Leon looked at her, he gently wiped his mouth and said, are you the swordsman from the other day? Sit down. Hearing what he said, Haji was visibly happy. She silently thumbed behind her back to send a signal to her teammates that everything was okay. Haji slowly sat down. She asked, was the meal delicious, Your Majesty? Leon replied, not bad, we can feel the chef's enthusiasm and ingenuity. After praising, it's time to say criticism, Leon spoke quickly, and, the reason I made things difficult for you was not because of the humble food, but because of your attitude towards the king. When you welcome royalty from another country, they should be given the best treatment. This will affect the safety of your country. That's right. Haji listened to him and froze. Please forgive my ignorance. Leon changed the subject. Okay, it's okay. Anyway, is your name Han or something? Haji stammered in response. Yes, my name is Han Haji, Leon continued. I have heard stories about this world. Those demons, those disgusting creatures have appeared on this planet, right? Haji also replied seriously, yes, that's exactly right. Haji has only one mission, which is to convince him to join the Hunter Association. Haji thought determinedly, I need to at least convince him to join our country, she said, if your majesty allows us, the Korean government can take care of you from now on. The motif of 21st century intelligence wars revolves around spying on survivors. No matter how many promises you have to make, you have to prevent them from joining other countries. Leon started to speak. So, as long as I remain in this world, do I have an obligation to go to the battlefield? If I am an honorable warrior, I should fight. Haji saw that he had no objection to fighting, so he suggested it. Then do you want to join our Hunter Association? Leon immediately said, however. Leon shouted, a king cannot serve as a soldier in another kingdom's army. I will create for myself a squad of knights here in this world. Haji froze when he heard what he said. She could only nod. After a while after leaving the room, Haji was now in shock. What do they say above? Jinsu stood leaning against the cabinet without saying anything. What can they say? They can only offer as much as they can. It's good that he hasn't gone to other countries or big guilds yet, Haji complained tiredly. The association is affiliated with the government and has to lower itself to beg him. Then she shouted angrily. It's all because of the bastards in the association who always show off their wealth and power. Jinsu saw her like that and replied, yes, that reminds me, Order of the Phoenix. Don't let this conversation drag on any longer. The alarm bell rang endlessly. Jinsu took out his phone to look. There is an urgent message, a dungeon has broken out in the Hunan Plain. Jinsu grimaced and said, if there was a dungeon outbreak at the storage location, those cruel elements would destroy all the food. Haji asked, isn't the Order of the Phoenix where the S-rank hunter, Li Zhongjan, is participating? There was no way he couldn't stop an orange gate. Jinsu is still uneasy. I think those bastards have other plans. We have to go and stop it immediately. Jinsu's scream echoed through the door for Leon to hear. Order of the Phoenix, those bastards. Leon clearly heard every breath of what was said on the other side of the door. Looks like they're in trouble, he thought. If there was a dungeon outbreak, the land would be polluted and unable to grow crops. He immediately turned on the exploration skill and spoke. As expected, this place doesn't have it. He radioed the contact. How are you? Jameza. The sound was transmitted to his hometown's tear-filled castle. Among them was a girl wearing a blue shirt. It seemed that person had received his words. This side in the rice fields. Orange light and energy particles flew everywhere, enveloping the rice plants. The orange gate opened there. Jinsu shouted, Hunter Li Zhongjan, what's going on here? Li Zhongjan, S-rank, president of the Order of the Phoenix, replied with a smirk, are you guys from the association? Are Chief Kim and Assistant Han also here? Jinsu didn't need to think to know, this bastard, he intentionally let the dungeon explode. Because we do not accept his request, he did this. They made a lot of money from the byproducts from the gate, magic stones and materials from monsters, and they want tax exemptions to collect trillions more. They have earned a lot since they were a big group. They dared to do these things just because their request was denied. Haji spoke loudly in warning, Hunter Li Zhongjan, we need to close the gate immediately. From today, the time is 1 week. If we leave it like that, Li Zhongjan complacently cut her off without even looking at her. I know, the gate's auction authority will be seated. But what can I do? My members are seriously injured here. It would be extremely difficult to scan the dungeon in this state. We will try tomorrow, but we don't know what will happen. Haji got angry while Jinsu was holding her hand to stop her. Don't you have any patriotism left? You know well what will happen if the Hunan Plain is polluted. Li Zhongjan smiled contemptuously and replied, I don't know anything. Why are you so childish? Miss Haji, I told you about this in last year's agenda. In this world, justice is money and power. Suddenly there was a voice of protest, you're quite shallow and outdated. All eyes turned to that person. Haji shouted, Sire, Leon. Leon replied, don't casually say the name of a king like that. I only allow you the right to call me by my title, this person. Li Zhongjan also panicked and shouted loudly, who are you? You look like a Western guy, don't want to hear anymore, Leon said, shut up. How dare a lowly person like you open your mouth to say such things to me? Li Zhongjan felt a little scared when Leon raised his voice, what's wrong with this bastard? He told me, is one of the world's S-rank hunters and the president of a top 10 guild inferior? Li Zhongjan intended to attack people with authority, do you want to go to heaven? Haji saw that a fight was about to happen and shouted to stop it, Hunter Li Zhongjan. He is a survivor. Hearing that, Li Zhongjan blankly asked again, a survivor? He retracted his aggressive appearance and bowed politely, I've been rude, I'm Li Zhongjan from the Phoenix Society. He continued speaking, perhaps, he came from the Koi Sak Association. Leon interrupted him, a king does not speak twice. Li Zhongjan stopped speaking. Leon turned back to talk to Haji and Jinsu, tell me the problem here, I don't know the details about the gate, so let's give a clear overview. The other two had the same thought, will he help? Happily replied, yes. Haji said, this is a dungeon outbreak. When the dungeon outbreak happened, large amounts of harmful elements will be released and pollute the land. And crops will not be able to grow on contaminated soil. This Hunan Plain is an extremely important food storage place. Right now the evil energy is harming the land. Leon asked for a solution. Haji replied, purify them and sweep the dungeon as quickly as possible, and we need to get rid of the dungeon altogether. Leon replied, I understand, a polluted land and an outbreak of gates is the problem. Call the army here. Tomorrow, the time limit for the devil's dungeon raid will end, this king will enter himself. Haji was so happy that he was speechless. Really, Leon continued. However, before that, a king from another country could not arbitrarily participate in any activities of another country. First of all, I need to get the consent of the king of this country. Haji spoke helplessly, please forgive me, what do you want? No, I don't think it's necessary, Leon said firmly, everything has legal and regulatory issues. How can you call yourself an honorable warrior when you don't follow the laws of this country? Hurry up, send word to your king. When Li Zhongjan heard it, he also wanted to be stunned. He thought, this bastard is worse than me. Then finally they made contact. On the plane he answered, that's right, I'm the president. Then, when the rig was arranged properly, it was already dark. Haji stood behind and called Leon to report. Yes, your majesty, he told me to prepare in advance, so I did. But how do you plan to use these? Leon replied, your precious land has been polluted, we need to be purified. Haji didn't quite understand the item in his hand. What's that? Just with this straw doll, Leon asked for two things, one of them is this straw doll. Leon looked inside and asked, are those the women who made the dolls? Haji replied, yes. And the remaining thing is that the people who make them must be women who have given birth. Leon comes in and gives orders, very good, everyone, show me the dolls you made. That's why there's a doll making contest held right in the middle of this plain. Leon held the doll and grimaced. Then evaluated the doll with a senseless look, no way, workers are confused. Then he destroyed the doll, this strange body, which is called a doll. The first product is eliminated. The second one, a chicken doll, was also eliminated with comments, how disappointing. Han Haji's third card was also eliminated, didn't you say you had children? Stupid thing. After touching countless dolls, the eliminated dolls were piled up on one side. The only person that caught Leon's eye was an 80-year-old woman. An old woman was married. Her doll has soft, silky hair and a bright smile. Leon knelt down respectfully, holding one of her hands and happily asked, how many children have you given birth to? She replied, 12, he praised, it is truly the cradle that gives birth to patriots. Usually I give medals and gifts, however, due to the current situation, we cannot do that, please forgive me. He kissed her lightly on her hand as a compliment that seemed to be enough to please her. A moment later, Leon took the doll and went out to the field. Place a table, a candle, and the doll in the center of the table. Leon saw that the conditions were sufficient, so he began to act, the rest stood nervously watching. He took out a golden cup encrusted with stones. Leon carefully held the glass in his hand and chanted the spell. Dear mother of this land, the subjects of this earth would like to send you a crop doll. Please accept it. As he finished speaking, a light shone from the glass. Then water suddenly appeared in the glass, gradually overflowing to the rim of the glass. Haji was surprised, the cup is filling itself with water. The sun is rising, bright red lights were piercing through the clouds. A new day is longing to begin. However, today's sunrise is a special beginning to this world. Li Zhongjian shouted, water drops are flowing inside the star doll. His teammates also continued, right now, the doll is standing up on its own. The doll makes a sound, Leon Ha, my child. Leon replied, dear mother, I respectfully greet you. Damera, god of life and abundance, that god replied, it's been a while, a god has descended to this land. Standing in the crowd, Leon Ha raised his hand to his chest and bowed respectfully before the spirit god, salute to the great Mother Earth, Damera, god of life and abundance. The petite god immediately smiled and said, this territory is also being invaded by evil, the land is polluted. Leon Ha replied with sad eyes, yes, evil entities also exist here, there is no god here again. Think of the people behind you. Leon Ha immediately glanced over and continued, so I'm worried that these vile, aggressive people will make people look dirty. Damera immediately replied. Stupidity and greed do not always count as crimes, those are characteristics inherent in the nature of a mortal. So what are you going to do now? Damera looked at Leon Ha and said. Leon Ha pondered for a moment, then replied, blending in with the swordsman is not difficult, the power of the conqueror is extremely sacred. Leon Ha raised his eyes and looked at Damera with a very sincere expression and said, I will make sure that duty and power can coexist here, God will correct foolish people and guide them onto the right path. Damera replied happily, only then can a new cathedral be built on this earth. As he spoke, Damera raised his finger, my child, don't you have any favors that I would like to bestow? Damera then used his finger to turn into a hand and continued, we are always available. Mother Damera. Damera immediately appeared in her true form as a giant god with large angel wings holding out her hands towards Leon Ha. Seeing that, Leon Ha immediately knelt down and bowed his head in response, the free spaces on this earth are being exposed to a source of evil energy, I'm sure this is not what you want to do, but please heal and purify this land. Damera immediately replied, you are my sunshine, our champion, the land of this world does not belong to my body. Damera then dripped a drop of clear water from his finger and said, I will spread my divinity here and fill this land's thirst with my flesh and blood, from the dry lands and rice fields under the gradually falling sunset. If so, everything that walks on this earth will become your ally. As soon as the words ended, Damera's water drops fell to the ground. Suddenly a source of power flared up extremely fiercely. The rice flowers are also gradually turning green again. Han Haji and the others standing not far away were looking extremely surprised at the phenomenon right in front of them. In front of them, Leon Ha turned around and shouted loudly, watch and learn from this, you ignorant people cannot learn and cannot know. Looking at the vast field, Leon Ha continued, this is a world blessed with divinity. Reproduce and flourish, the previously withered rice plants were now full of branches and golden rice grains in the afternoon sunlight. That is the proper duty of a living being. The change in a large area of land made Han Haji's people extremely surprised. In front of them was Li Yanha and Damera, who were looking back and speaking, "This fertile land is evidence of an eternal promise." Seeing this, Li Zhongjian looked extremely angry and grabbed the rice plant and pulled it up. He stood behind and shouted loudly, "Don't be fooled, everyone, that plant was grown using magic and is extremely poisonous. I'm sure that's something everyone knows well." Hearing this, Li Yanha immediately turned back to look at Li Zhongjian and spoke with an extremely disgusted expression. "This is a place where the plant is blessed by the gods. How dare you consider it poisonous?" Hearing this, Li Zhongjian still kept cursing, "That stupid straw doll." Li Yanha's patience has reached its peak. His expression suddenly darkened as he spoke. "I can only forgive this stupidity once. Don't tarnish the goddess's name with that foul mouth of yours." Hearing this, Li Zhongjian was extremely angry. He immediately thought in his head, "Damn it, this can't be happening." The team members kept calling, "President," but he's still thinking, "My plan was about to fail because of him." Li Zhongjian gritted his teeth. His expression looked extremely scary. "I can't let that happen. I will expose that lie of yours." "I thought." Li Zhongjian walked towards Li Yanha's group and said, "We still need proof. I hope that you will cooperate for the sake of those who will consume this." As he walked up to speak, Li Zhongjian was thinking in his head, "I will frame you as a fraud." Li Zhongjian immediately raised his hand to introduce one of his people and said, "I would provide an appraiser." The guy from the other group immediately approached and spoke, "Then let me begin." He immediately used his power to cast a blue magic that covered the treetops. After checking for a while, he felt something very strange, making his face look a bit surprised. A moment later, his eyes suddenly opened wider and he stammered, "Here, this is." A notification system appeared in front of him. The rice was blessed by the gods. Rarity level. Description: the rice was blessed with the divinity of Damera, the goddess of life and birth. Level 3 diseases will be cured when consuming this food continuously. The appraiser immediately exclaimed, "The level of this thing is rare." He cried out in surprise while using magic, "All of this rice is rare, and it can also cure level 3 diseases and even cancer." When Han Haji heard this, he was extremely surprised and spoke leisurely, "Really, really?" Li Yanha and the goddess standing here immediately replied, "Yes, really." Kim Jinsu replied slowly, "Someone quickly get a pot from the minister's house." After waiting for a long time, the rice cooker was brought and the first grains of rice were cooked. After finishing eating, Kim Jinsu was extremely surprised. "No, it can't be." The system immediately displayed a notification that the rice was made from blessed rice. Stamina recovery rate increases by 100 points per minute, mana regeneration rate increased by 50 points per minute, total time 8 hours. Kim Jinsu said, "This is equivalent to a bottle of supplements." Just like that, everyone picked up their bowls of rice and tried to eat. How can just this white rice be worth a bottle of strengthening supplements worth 3 million a bottle? Han Haji also had to run over with a bowl of rice to speak, head of department. She cried out in utter surprise, Chief, there's new news." Kim Jinsu immediately replied, "Let's finish repenting first," and then said. Han Haji quickly apologized and swallowed hard. Then she said something green, "I was a bit curious just now and I ate a bug." Those words made the department head extremely surprised and faltered in response, eat a bug." Han Haji immediately replied, "And I received a buff too, what?" The last sentence made everyone extremely surprised when they heard it. Kim Jinsu immediately thought in his mind, if the entire land is truly blessed, then wouldn't it be strange for every living creature to also receive that blessing, a free buff? Hearing this, the group of people immediately rushed to catch the bugs. "Catch as many as you can, we will enter the gate with full buffs." The Hunter Association's momentum has increased. Coming here, the goddess immediately looked at Hat and said, "My child." Li Yanha immediately turned around and replied, "Goddess Damera." The goddess standing behind immediately spoke, "Looks like I've accomplished what I needed to do here. It's time for us to return." Hearing that, Li Yanha immediately knelt down in front of the goddess and responded, "God is, and will never forget the sacred love he has given us." The goddess immediately touched Li Yanha's head and said, "My child, let me leave you with one last lesson. Remember to eat until full." The goddess appeared with an extremely gentle expression and looked at Li Yanha with extremely loving eyes. As soon as the words ended, the doll fell down. Finally, the goddess left, leaving the doll lying there motionless. Han Haji immediately approached Li Yanha's back and said, "Your Majesty, what's up?" Before he finished speaking, Li Yanha replied, "The power of the gods. Is this world no longer ruled by anyone?" Han Haji immediately replied blankly, "I'm not sure." Li Yanha immediately said, "A full life in a world will be created by the power of the gods. You earthlings should remember that clearly." And finally the gate opened. Li Yanha continued, "When the warriors are full, we will enter the gate." On this side, Li Zhongjian's people immediately spoke, "President, is this okay? At this rate, our plan will inevitably encounter problems." Li Zhongjian was so angry that the veins on his face were showing. "That scoundrel bastard," he thought, "damn it, where did he come from?" Look at the group of people approaching the gate, Li Zhongjian thought to himself, if it weren't for him, the government would have no choice but to listen to our demands. I wish he would die in that gate already. Ha! Suddenly, like a bolt of lightning ran through Li Zhongjan's head, he immediately thought of something. Suddenly he laughed like a crazy person. Ho, that's not a bad idea, the person next to him replied. President, Li Zhongjan immediately said, you don't need to worry. Li Zhongjan continued, this gate has partly been explored. Teammates immediately responded, yes, but the middle part is a bit difficult. But, it seems like that teammate also noticed something unusual. Li Zhongjan immediately revealed a complacent expression and replied, there was only one ranker, Han Haji, that survivor probably belongs to the job of blessing and creating buffs. I guess that guy will be useless in battle. That means, Li Zhongjan's expression is even more savage, they will certainly fail. They finally entered the gate. This place is an extremely dark cave. The sound of footsteps gradually appeared. Lian Ha and his teammates have just defeated a group of monsters in the cave and are preparing to leave the cave. Lian Ha walked and talked, in other words, most of the gates will close if we complete the mission or destroy the bot. Lian Ha immediately continued, a duel with a bot, I like that. Han Haji immediately smiled and thought, she couldn't tell him that usually they would be ganged up on by the whole group. On the way, they discovered countless dead bodies lying on the ground. Lian Ha immediately said, they told me that they had tried conquering this dungeon before, but there are a lot of monsters here, right? Oh, that's the specialty of this prison, Haji replied, what's the special point? Lian Ha was surprised. Haji immediately said, yes, usually the number of monsters will decrease after defeating the majority of the gates, usually. But skeleton or zombie or demon in some special cases, if the bot is still alive, they will be revived indefinitely. Lian Ha looked at him with his arms crossed and replied, that's interesting, so it will only end if we defeat the boss, I understand. Lian Ha immediately said, so this must be the case you're talking about, right? Haji immediately replied, yes, that's highly likely, it seems like there is a necromancer standing behind them pulling the strings of these dry bones. I thought, the words hadn't finished yet when suddenly the notification appeared. On the notice it was clear that an explosion had begun, the god of death had called out the names of every living creature inside the gate. There would be a limited time, Knight Commander Julahan is approaching with his army, defeat the commanding Knight Julahan, the remaining time is 3 hours 00 minutes. As soon as the notification went off, suddenly the whole surrounding area shook. Kim Jinsu looked extremely angry and cursed silently, Li Zhongjan, this bastard, he should have warned us about things like this sooner. On this side, Lian Ha and Han Haji also felt something unusual. Suddenly, a statue appeared out of nowhere containing blue energy. Looking at a wider angle, it was an extremely large group of dark soldiers. The system immediately warned that a dungeon explosion had begun. Defeat the commanding Knight Julahan, remaining time is 2 hours 58 minutes. At the same time, the monsters rushed towards Lian Ha. Lian Ha's group also gradually became more cautious. There are too many monsters, sir, should we reallocate positions? Kim Jinsu immediately responded, focus on transferring them to higher level people to handle. Kim Jinsu immediately called out and asked, Masik, how many archers and magicians are there? On this side, Masik attacked the monsters while struggling to answer, currently I see 30 archers and 2 magicians. Kim Jinsu immediately raised his shield and gave orders, those with archery skills should deal with the monsters with ranged skills first, anyone with a shield should stop them and not let them advance. Look at the monsters moving towards you, Kim Jinsu replied, good luck, you bastards. And finally the monsters were rushing uncontrollably, they continuously attacked with such great force that even though Kim Jinsu used his shield to block, he still sank deeply into the ground. Kim Jinsu immediately thought, they are stronger than I thought, I guess the orange gate is really different. However, Kim Jinsu immediately attacked the monster. They are not too much for a B-ranked tanker like me. But all thoughts have been extinguished. Kim Jinsu immediately looked behind him and discovered something. Damn, I can't believe these skeletons can use high-level magic. In the distance are skeletons creating a magic circle together. I need to attract their attention. Thinking of this, Kim Jinsu immediately shouted, here, this side. Suddenly, the bone monsters changed their attack position. They immediately launched magic moves towards Kim Jinsu's team. Sir, the attack hit Kim Jinsu, causing the other members to cry out in surprise. Kim Jinsu immediately replied, I'm fine, just a little damp, everyone should know that this equipment costs a lot of money. And finally the bot arrived, it rode a horse and stood tall in front of Kim Jinsu, extremely huge and powerful. But instead, Kim Jinsu's expression did not change at all. When you look at that monster, it's easy to spot that it's Julahan. As fast as lightning, that monster immediately launched an attack towards Kim Jinsu. Because Kim Jinsu had not had time to resist, he was knocked back by the attack. The blow was extremely strong, causing him to lose a huge amount of strength. Seeing the dire situation, Han Haji cried out with an extremely surprised expression, Department Head Kim Jinsu. The support girl standing next to her immediately spoke, we need to save his assistant Haji, should we let relief troops come help? Hearing this, Han Haji was a bit hesitant. She looked towards her teammates who were being beaten to a pulp by the bot, this is why we have a reserve team, we need to help them now, the teammate was constantly screaming. How could he swing a great sword so quickly? Stop him. Han Haji suddenly turned to look at Li Anha and thought, he is the king of Li Anha, the one who defeated the great evil. After thinking about it, Han Haji immediately said, Sir, please help us. Han Haji looked at Li Anha as he spoke with extremely pleading eyes. At this part, Li Anha immediately froze. Then he said, a king would never fight such a small battle. Han Haji replied in surprise, huh? What do you mean? Know how to save face a little. Han Haji then looked stupid. Li Anha immediately frowned and said, I can't believe you guys would try to find a way to force me to fight those damn walking skeletons, that is also disrespectful to the goddess, I can't look anymore. Han Haji thought extremely worriedly, what the hell is he talking about? Next to her the assistant said, Assistant, what should we do now? Han Haji thought with a bit of disbelief in his eyes, I can't waste any more time, this person has no intention of helping. Looking at Li Anha's appearance and words, he kept wondering, how can zombies move like that? Han Haji thought, he didn't seem interested in anything other than Julahan. We need to stop Julahan first, I'll take care of the bot, everyone else, please take care of supporting Chief Kim and his allies. As he spoke, Han Haji ordered everyone to be informed. As quickly as she could, she launched herself forward. Rushed straight towards the bot, ignoring the zombies surrounding it and watching. Han Haji just stepped on the face of a zombie to gain momentum. She jumped high above the bot's head and prepared to swing her sword at it. The sword slashed straight above the bot, creating a huge shock. But the bot quickly raised its sword to defend. Han Haji thought a little angrily, he can help it. I must separate it from its crown by any means possible. Just as he finished thinking, suddenly the monster's head separated from its body and came close to Han Haji's face. Ha! Han Haji was extremely surprised when the bot's body was moving. Han Haji immediately thought, did it throw its head away to block my view? What kind of zombie fights like that? Han Haji immediately raised his sword to prepare to block the attack. But because the force was too strong, she was hit by the bot, sending her flying straight towards the stone wall behind her. Cough, having been hit by a very strong blow, Han Haji was fortunately able to land safely, thank goodness. But before he could think too much, Han Haji discovered the bot rushing towards him. She thought in surprise, I successfully separated it from those monsters. The monster was preparing to attack. Han Haji immediately said, sorry. Trying hard, she mentally prepared herself to launch the next attack and continued, it's just that my skill attack range is a bit wide. Han Haji immediately attacked the bot monster, creating an extremely large explosion that made it scream. The monster finally cried out in great pain, making Han Haji think, I hit it. This move will probably defeat it. Thinking about it, Han Haji immediately created a flame from his sword. She immediately swung her sword towards the monster. But Han Haji only hit the monster's scimitar. She thought with great surprise, it blocked that attack with the surface of the scimitar. Han Haji immediately discovered it, standing there. The bot was also just about to launch a new move. When the slash almost reached Han Haji's head, it suddenly stopped. Impressive, the sound of applause from afar stopped everything. Li Anha clapped his hands as he spoke. This swordsmanship skill is excellent even with only one hand, I am sure you were once a noble knight. Li Anha immediately clapped his hands and continued talking, please forgive me for confusing a great knight like you with a common undead. That nameless knight, the king of Li Anha, will give you the right to challenge me. There is no need for more wounded soldiers. Li Anha loudly declared, let's end this battle with a duel between two knights. Hearing this, all of Li Anha's soldiers and Khan Bot's monsters also felt extremely confused. Did he challenge Bot to a duel? There's no way that would happen, but that thought had not ended when Non-Bot suddenly turned around towards Li Anha. The bot immediately raised its head about Li Anha's boat, it's accepted. Monsters kept appearing, gradually approaching. In front of a large army, Leon was not afraid. The porch stood before Julahan, the great knight. He summoned his sword, relax a bit. Then talked to Julahan, I remember that his swordsmanship was dual swords, right? It's not suitable for fighting with a one-handed weapon like this. Faced with Leon's question, Julahan was speechless. Haji saw that Leon was poorly prepared and hesitantly asked, Your Majesty, Leon asked again, what's wrong? Haji said worriedly, this Julahan cannot be destroyed unless you cut off his head. But Leon appeared indifferent, really? Is that important? Seeing Leon's attitude, Haji was stunned and thought to himself, of course, but how could he defeat Julahan without beheading him? Leon continued, it's not that important, what determines victory is a knight's honor. Leon stood straight and upright in front of Julahan. Brave hero, taking the name of the first knight under the command of his goddess of light and justice. I, Grand Duke of Dragonier and King Leon Ha, will grant the esteemed knight a challenge. As soon as Leon finished speaking, Julahan immediately rushed forward to attack. He swung his sword fiercely while Leon remained calm. but he easily blocked Julahan's great sword without any difficulty. Still maintaining the brave demeanor of a knight, Julahan continued to attack. But just like last time, the sword was easily broken. Without hesitation, Julahan continued to attack, but Leon still blocked it without any difficulty. Taking advantage of Julahan's vulnerability, Leon's sword was placed in front of his chest. He calmly said, "One life." Julahan fell into a difficult position. Julahan stepped back. Gain momentum and strike hard. Haji watched with great concern. If he blocked the attack with that style, she cried out in panic, "Your Majesty." But Leon was still safe and sound. With enough time to talk nonsense, "Your armor is too weak." The thunderous sword strike just now was also destroyed by Leon. All were extremely surprised. What happened? Have you seen it? Did he just strike? Haji's eyes sparkled, exclaiming, "It was wonderful." Meanwhile, everyone was still confused and didn't understand what had just happened. Did you see it? As it turned out, Haji was the only one aware of what happened in that battle. He changed the balance of the sword swing by rotating the sword at the moment of approaching the attack. Furthermore, he gave a horizontal sword strike at that moment. No one is bold enough to do that. And in an instant, Julahan lost another life to Leon's sword. Second network. Leon looked at his opponent with a certain respect. Let's get back on the defensive. Everyone thinks that Leon can do it, because he is too overwhelming. During the battle with Leon, Julahan seemed to have awakened. It's been a while since he defeated a knight in a proper honorable duel. It seems like it's a trick to get him through his troubles. All horsemen will think like that when they receive a request to dismount from their opponents. That's a confused thought. Look at that knight, standing tall with a look as if he had gone through countless battles. Like a star who always pursues honor and excellence. Leon seems to understand Julahan as well, so he always tries his best in the match. I'll try using that sword move and see. Thinking so, he immediately swung his sword, hitting Julahan's armor directly. Julahan lost again. Third network. Leon raised his sharp blade and asked his opponent, "Do you want to continue?" He is truly the king of knights, honorable and challenging. Julahan has awakened and wants to fight as a knight. I don't want to use my necromancy power. I want to fight this man countless times. In the way of a knight, rightly, as the way of knights. He rushed forward, attacking wildly, not using necromancy, only using my sword alone before that day. Just like how I fought with the honorable knight before, go all the way in this world with the honor of a knight. I seem to have forgotten everything. In a moment of carelessness, Julahan's weapon was blown away. Lost again. 10th network. Leon was calm, not disdainful of his opponent, but also gave praise to his opponent. Your sword is gradually becoming more accurate. Could it be that you remember your past life? Julahan was emotional. Great knight, he has brought us back to the glorious times of the past, but he couldn't make a sound, he could only growl. Leon asked again, "Do you want to continue?" Knight, faced with that question, Julahan signaled to the monsters. Immediately, a group of monsters came. One carries Julahan's head. Julahan took it. Solemnly handed it to Leon. When did I begin the cruel massacre? How long have I been fighting and losing my self-respect? If only that cursed journey could end like this. I am extremely satisfied. Although he didn't say anything, Leon seemed to understand what Julahan meant. He smiled. Great, I'm very happy that you have regained your honor. Gently touched the head. I will pray for you. If you ever believed in a god, I pray that God will let your soul rest in peace. If not, then I will pray to the goddess to guide you to the end of heaven. Great knight, I hope to one day see you again at the banquet of the gods. Let this place shine with light. That said, everything seems to be covered by a halo of light. Julahan's curse also gradually disappeared. He gradually returned to human form. Show off the honor of an engineer. Let glory return to Leon Dragonier Leon Ha. It all ended at dawn. Everyone packed their things and prepared to go home. Haji in his fortress discussed. He still kept his promise to me. He really ended it, in a duel. But what is that light? It seemed like he said let this place shine with light. Is that what he calls holy magic? That's probably why the zombies disappeared right after that. He should have used that skill sooner. Leon seemed to hear the conversation. Immediately intervene. If we do that, then that great knight will receive the results of a necromancer and not as a knight anymore. Haji saw Leon and quickly responded, "Yes, your majesty." Leon continued, "The knight always lives with two words of honor. Honor comes from action, and action comes from will." Julahan got what he deserved, like a noble knight. After that, he leisurely walked away. Now then, I'll go get my loot. Where there is battle, there's loot there. Meanwhile, everyone was still bewildered. In the area where Julahan left, there are still cloaks and swords, and there's also a glitter ball. Look, it seems like it contains a lot of mana. Julahan's greatsword and cloak are also here. But the ball seems to carry bad energy. This upset Leon. The guy smashed the ball. If this thing sells, it must fetch a lot of money, pile of trash. The ball lost its light and looked like a pile of rubble. Leon just left, ignored Jinsu and Haji who were speechless. He raised his eyebrows, things like this only bring bad luck. Secretary Haji is pushing the food cart, sigh. She seemed to have exhausted all her strength. It's been 4 days since Leon returned to Earth. In this short period of time a lot has happened, so tired. There was a slight uproar over the tax issue. When she brought this up to Leon, he scowled. What? I'm the king, but do I still have to pay taxes to the king of another country? Don't talk about that pile of cheap money anymore, they are not worthy for a king like me to discuss. Stop talking about money, I'm losing interest, making Haji feel dumbfounded. Receiving believers to build the temple is also a problem, people asked impatiently, so how will we provide products? Leon bluntly stated 90%, please provide that amount of products as an offering, I'm too merciful like that. The old man replied trembling, taxes and living expenses alone are already very heavy, so if you submit 90% of the products. But Leon was calm. Follower of the goddess, no need to worry about lack of food or clothing, living benefits and everything will be handled by our association. Haji, to reassure everyone, showed them a piece of paper. Remember the effect that comes from the goddess's blessing on the rice plants, isn't it wonderful? The paper said 80 kilograms of rice per bag is 100 million won. Seeing that, everyone was happy. Does one bag already have this price? If so, then even if we give away most of the products, we will still receive a lot of benefits. We believe you. Hearing those words, Leon felt happy. But the biggest problem lies with Leon. As soon as he entered the break room, he shouted loudly. This isn't a battlefield and there aren't any works of art hanging above the bed of a king like me. Haji is helpless. Not only does he want a really high-class, luxurious bed, he also wanted servants to take care of him by his side. At the same time, I also want to have works of art hanging at the head of the bed. In the end, she had to go around 5-star hotels until 2 a.m. to rent the room she wanted. Hello, please forgive me for being this late. Not only that, but he also had to go back and beg Leon, Your Majesty, please go to sleep. Fortunately, he finally agreed to compromise with the room decorated with paintings and having ceramics placed around it. That's all for now. Haji stood in front of Leon's door and called, Your Majesty, Han Haji is here. Leon ordered, come in. Haji was sweating profusely. Are you still good? Leon sat sloppily on the chair. Is there anything? Haji respectfully, this is food, please enjoy. Leon asked, have you had breakfast? Haji replied with a forced smile, not yet. Leon heard that, expressionless, raising his glass of wine, coldly said, at least bring food for yourself, don't starve. Hearing that, Haji was a bit confused. Yes. Open the food tray, inside are all delicious delicacies. Making Haji look hungry, look so delicious. Later, I'll have to buy a sandwich to take with me to eat. Suddenly Leon gave an order, sit down, made Haji very surprised. She was moved to tears, she was secretly happy. Your Majesty, could it be that day you planned to share your meal with me? While happily sitting down at the table, Leon shouted, what are you doing? Haji asked confusedly, yes. Leon replied condescendingly, I was thinking of asking you to cut a piece of ribs for me to eat. Haji heard that and was bewildered, but aren't you planning on sharing it with me? And Leon's words were like salt to the heart, how can a king like me be humble towards a commoner like you? Leon's car stopped at a high-class hotel. Haji reported the situation, the Hunter Association has decided to support Your Majesty's settlement, although it is not a magnificent royal palace, but it's also incredibly luxurious. Leon replied coldly, this is something worth doing, for someone with a status like mine, it's impossible for people to defame me. Haji hesitantly asked, Your Majesty, the distribution of the spoils is unknown, but she didn't finish her sentence yet. Leon shouted aggressively, I already ordered someone to handle that part themselves. Not only that, Leon gave further instructions, but don't touch that cloak, I kinda like that. Hearing that, Haji was speechless and didn't know what to say. The two of them just got out of the car, got there, Your Majesty. Haji introduced, this place is very close to the Hunter Association, there is also a helicopter pad on the rooftop, so in an emergency we can also use it to move around. And keep asking, how do you feel about the atmosphere here? But Leon didn't pay much attention and was attracted by the stones in front of the entrance. What exactly are these strange things? They entered the lobby. Then there was someone waiting. Ah, you are Assistant Han Haji of the Hunter Association, right? Seeing this person, Haji's face darkened. She was a bit confused. Today's trip is a secret, she immediately asked the other person, wondering who he was. He politely greeted, smiling somewhat fakely, I just happened to be here. I am Park Song-chan, director of Deyoung Meiji Food of Deyoung Group. Haji was a bit surprised and smiled wryly, what about Deyoung? She thought to herself, Deyoung Group is one of the 3 largest conglomerates in Korea, now are you still pretending to be casual and waiting here? Song-chan smiled cunningly. turned to start a conversation with Leon. This person must be a famous survivor recently. Haji immediately understood this guy's intention. I know right away. Song-chan held out his hand, polite. Nice to meet you guys, Mr. Leon Dragoni or Leon Ha. But Leon despised him, annoyed to say, are you just a bunch of traitors asking to shake my hand? Haji led Leon to the room, introduce, this is where the association will serve your majesty for an entire year? The association will handle all management costs and rent itself, so you don't need to worry, ah? There is also room service and cleaners covered by the management fee, so I thought you could use them? She thought to herself, it's also lucky, information about the survivors is a special secret, so we don't know what Park Song-chan is planning. Luckily Leon ignored him. Song-chan's expression at that time was unbearably pathetic. Haji wondered, but in the end, what happened that made that guy come here to meet your majesty? Leon replied calmly, that merchant came here. Probably for profit, Haji asked innocently, profit? And you immediately realized that Song-chan's intention was for the rice plants to receive God's blessing, right? She remembered what happened last time. At that time, the situation was extremely urgent, so information control could not operate properly. Taking that opportunity, many radio and television broadcasters filmed it. Our association firmly advised them to delete that video. Thinking so, she immediately checked her phone and was surprised. Hey, someone posted it again? Name unknown but last name is Park. At this time, Song-chan was also watching the video, bitterly scolded, damn. That cocky bastard. He turned to ask the staff, hey, are you sure these rice plants are effective? He faltered, yes, definitely. Song-chan questioned again, we haven't done any clinical trials yet, the experiment with rats was successful, but is it definitely effective in humans? The employee scratched his cheek, hesitant, that thing. Suddenly, the secretary walked in to announce the news, Director, I have reached out to the owner of that field to ensure the maximum number of seeds available, but there. I came across a dead dog brought back to life. There are people who can completely cure chronic rhinitis. After eating those rice grains, the people in the village were completely cured of both minor and serious illnesses. We don't have clinical trial data but we think it's proven. Hearing that, Song-chan knew he had won the trick, smiling cunningly, it turns out that's it. But it's also crazy. That guy dares to treat a world-class director like me so arrogantly. The secretary continued, Director, this must be successful, the capacity of that rice variety is limitless. Song-chan was upset, I know, so we have to see him again. He angrily banged the table, it was unexpected. In Korea, there are still people who look down on a successful businessman. Just because you own a few grains of rice, you make it big, you pick the wrong opponent, you savage survivor. You're just like the other survivors, always behind civilization, but we mistakenly think that the world we live in is the most developed. He smirked, looks dangerous. Prepare for culture shock, stupid name. Return to Earth, Leon has set 3 goals. First, spread belief in gods. There are many gods and believers on Earth. The truly important things, divine power, do not exist. A god who was supposed to receive worship and bless the world, but instead, there are still people who have to cope with illness. The land is increasingly polluted. So to use divine power, it is necessary to create new beliefs, therefore, more people must believe in the new god. Second, train the temple knights. In this world, there does not exist a warrior organization that uses divine power. If the guardian of the Holy Grail, the king of Leon Ha was considered a demigod, then the Templar knights were saints. They are knights of the gods. Using divine power, they brought fear to the demons. And finally, in order to slaughter all the demons roaming this land, restore divine power and nurture the temple knights. Leon stood in front of the window, thoughtful, needing to spread faith and maintain balance and order in Patteon to nurture the temple knights. Perhaps expecting the Templar knights to appear in a place like this was a bit too much. But that doesn't affect me at all, I just need to fulfill my duty. He was thinking forever when suddenly Haji called, Sire. She said, someone requested an audience with him. Leon coldly replied, if they have gone through the necessary procedures, there is no reason not to listen to them. With permission, a group of people entered. Turned out to be a member of Young Group. Representative Song-chan said, thank you for allowing us to see you, Your Majesty. Leon heard that and remained silent, quietly observing. Song-chan smiled on the outside but was still angry inside. Yes, if it's for business benefits, I can completely bow my head to this stupid maniac, he continued, and this time I also brought a small fruit. One person pushed a large box in front of Leon. Song-chan warmly said, please accept it. He thought to himself, you will be extremely surprised when you see what it is. Can't hide my cunning, a top luxury product that even a crazy person like you cannot see in your dreams. Once you try it, you won't be able to go back. I'll make you beg me to be your manager. Leon sounded pleased, so he decided to agree. Okay, you have such sincere intentions. So we will accept. Song-chan found Leon's condescending attitude even more exasperating. Received? What kind of attitude? Receiving it is like giving me a blessing. Although he was very bitter in his heart, he still had to try to restrain himself. Try to keep your voice cheerful. Why don't you see what it is? I'm sure you will like it. Seeing Song-chan constantly pleading, Leon ordered Haji, I don't want to waste my time explaining the rules to him, Han Haji, open it. Haji was a bit confused but still immediately accepted the order, yes, your majesty. She approached the box, pressed the button. The box slowly opened. What was inside made Haji unable to believe his eyes, this is. And Song-chan thought he had won the trick and smiled evilly. He eagerly introduced himself, these are the most elite weapons, the pride of our group, I want you to choose the dish you like best. Haji was surprised, all are special items made by the master craftsman of Young Saw Group. Song-chan replied triumphantly, that's right, they are all classy items, the most elite of the elite. I heard that from now on you will be active as a hunter, these will help you a lot. Haji saw this and was extremely confused, why did he just hand over Young Group's special weapons? These top weapons that even money cannot buy, I only saw these on a YouTube video when I was in school. But it's different from the reaction of normal people, Leon despised, where can I use these low-level weapons? Hearing that, everyone was shocked, low level? Sire, what do you mean low level? Leon explained, how can a good sword lack the star's aura or divine blessings? Do you only use weapons to hunt monsters or what? Song-chan didn't understand anything when he heard that, sweating profusely, what the hell is he talking about? Do you want me to dry my sword like a chili pepper? And also bring it out to pray? Leon sat on a chair, condescendingly speaking, a disloyal person, a businessman. Song-chan heard that, worried, denied, he misunderstood. Hearing that, Leon was still cold, well, okay, since he's a businessman, it's normal to show off his stuff wherever he goes. This thing can only kill chickens and cows, but we'll try. Having said that, he summoned his sword. Seeing this scene, Song-chan was bewildered, what, he took out an ancient sword from the air. But he's still very confident, that's all he is, does he look down on his weapon that much, this bastard, smiled sarcastically, well, I want to see the power of the sword in your hand, your majesty. He turned to speak to Haji, the management secretary, Ms. Han Haji. Haji confusedly replied, yes. Song-chan continued, do you want to try one of the weapons here? Haji asked bewilderedly, oh, me. Then, confused, he turned to look at Leon and saw him nodding. She turned to the weapon box, observed for a while, then. And quickly chose a sword. She excitedly took out a crimson sword, the sword she had admired for 4 years, the sword of the master craftsman, Park Jin-chio, Bin Min, the weapon of her dreams. Haji was a bit confused, I could feel its power, it really felt like it had absorbed the special gate's concentrated solar energy for 10 days. As if to make sure, Haji asked Leon again, can I really use this thing, but Leon just frowned, just swinging the toy and you still need permission. This made Song-chan even more angry, that bastard. Haji holds a sword in his hand. She felt the power of the sword. I come here. She got into position, strongly swinging the sword. But unexpectedly, the special level weapon easily shattered. This shocked everyone. Leon's sword is superior to Song-chan's sword. Leon put his sword away, he frowned, it was worse than I thought, what a waste of time. He's cold, I'll shorten the meeting time, you have 3 minutes. Meanwhile, Song-chan was still stunned, not understanding what had just happened. Is Bin Min broken? Young Group's most powerful weapon is broken. Impossible, at this point he has no other choice, so. Time is blowing, He had to frankly say his true intention, I want to ask for the right to patent rice. Leon was very upset hearing that, what, see this attitude, Song-chan immediately said, of course we will pay. According to our calculations, it only costs about 180 billion won. The situation was like that but Song-chan was still complacent, of course, he thought, its value was much higher, there is no way the rice that can cure cancer should be priced at that price. But for some reason, this crazy guy knew the value of 180 billion won, he'll go crazy when he hears me explain how valuable that money is. Leon asked again, did you say you wanted to buy rice with money? He thought he had just won a trick and was happy, here it is, smiling sinisterly, yes, of course, you must sign the contract, Young Group will have monopoly on rice. Well, if you want, I can raise the price further, but before he finished speaking, Leon interrupted, stupid businessman. His eyes were fierce like a lion, you dare insult the gods. He was angry, those stupid merchants dared to insult the gods. These words made Young Group's people panic. Especially Song-chan, the air was so stuffy that he couldn't breathe. Die! Leon shouted with a serious face, stupid, do you know your crime? Song-chan collapsed, trembling, me, I really don't know what I did wrong. Leon was angry, is it possible to be that ignorant and foolish? That product is the fruit born from the land that Demara blessed, it is a good blessing for the farmers who are sweating and plowing the fields. Not something that can be bought with thousands of gold, but given with gratitude and faith. You cowards are chasing shallow profits while deceiving others, I ask you. How can you benefit from the products of a god you do not believe in? Song-chan was both bitter and scared but couldn't do anything. Young Group's group had to return. In the evening, when Leon was standing by the window admiring the scenery, Haji asked, "Is it okay to let director Park Song-chan go like that?" Haji is worried. "In your majesty's opinion, even if they are merchants, they are still people with considerable influence," but Leon was still indifferent, not concerned. That alone is not enough to sway the crooks. He asked Haji, "Anyway, is what I told you to prepare ready?" Haji hesitated. "I already contacted the association but..." Her eyes sparkled. This time His Majesty also did the test. Following the order of doing inspection and measurement will make the work more convenient. Hearing that, Leon frowned again, annoyed. What kind of indiscriminate spokesperson is that? You said that these worthless people will test King Leon, huh? Seeing that, Haji was bewildered. Then why do you want to go there? Leon calmly replied, "We must select capable freedom soldiers. I will check on them." Haji hesitated and wanted to explain, "That's in order." But Leon still insisted that even if it couldn't work, he had to do it. At the inspection area, someone called, "Oh, Mr. Wu." Wu heard someone calling and greeted him warmly. He is D-rank freelance hunter Wu Ji-song. The uncle waved. Mr. Wu came to re-evaluate his rank? At the main concourse, two people talked together. The uncle said, "Mr. Wu also worked really hard." Wu smiled, said nothing. The uncle continued asking, "How was this year? Are you sure you'll get promoted?" Wu said a little sadly, "Well, we just have to try harder." Seeing that, the uncle encouraged him not to say that. "Or should you join our team?" Wu thought to himself, "Guys with no talent are rank C, but I've been at D level for 10 years. The uncle said again, something like Mr. Wu would probably be honest and quiet and do a good job, then he will quickly become the trump card. "Well, when it comes down to it, the mining team isn't that bad." Wu warmly replied, "That's true, I've been taking the exam for 10 years now." He said with determination, "Even so I still want to try a little more." He thought to himself, if it weren't for conquering dungeons with high life bonuses, interest payments would be very tight. I have a family to take care of, I can't give up. No matter what, you must reach sea level to escape the porter situation. While talking, they encountered Leon. "Hey, are you a foreigner?" Seeing his appearance, they gossiped, "Are you European? Not a foreign worker?" As Europeans, there are also poor countries. On the outside, it looks like royalty. Uncle called, "Hey young man." The uncle warmly approached Leon, "How are you?" But Leon looked condescending as always, shockingly replied, "Don't try to talk to me on purpose, plebeian." The uncle froze when he heard that. Mr. Wu also gasped in shock. Uncle and Wu had to console themselves. He's learned Korean quite a bit, right? That's right. Suddenly Leon turned to stare at Wu, making him tremble. Leon's powerful eyes scared Wu so much that he couldn't move. Seeing him trembling, the uncle asked, "Mr. Wu, what's wrong? Where is the pain?" Wu is very panicked right now. "What's up? Can't breathe, it's like there's something oppressive, something giant." Suddenly an employee made an announcement, "Mr. Wu Ji-song, number 57. Please come into office number 2. Wu heard his name being called and immediately left. "Oh yes, I'll be right there." Leon still quietly observed. He's depressed, he only needs one person. "I'm not looking for a strong man, but there's no one worthy of being a knight. All are the same. In the past, the people who came to check were all low-level hunters, now it's just idiots coming to check for awakening." Someone else made an announcement, "Number 77, Leon Dragoni or Leon Ha, please come to interview room number 9. This time it's Leon's turn, but he clicked his tongue in annoyance. From the beginning, the situation was unsatisfactory. He went to room number 9 as requested. He boldly opened the door and entered the room. Doesn't look like a contestant at all. An employee checks the information sheet, asked Leon Dragoni or Leon Ha number 77, but Leon scowled and ordered, "Commoners, call me Tank." The staff didn't understand this but still followed, "Ah yes, your majesty." The employee continued, "So, please put your hand on the measuring ball here to check." Then pointed towards the magic ball on the table. Leon observed the ball for a long time. Coldly hummed. Then suddenly scolded the staff, "Stupid." Leon was high and scolded again, "How dare a commoner test a knight's honor?" Seeing that, an employee immediately explained awkwardly, "It's not us who do the measuring, but the magic tools." But he wasn't finished yet. Leon was upset. "Are you saying that a machine like this will measure a knight's abilities? Only honorable knights and gods can determine knighthood." "Listen," the staff froze, "so why come here?" Leon also did not hide anything. "Directly state your intentions. I came to recruit talented soldiers." But even the staff are ordinary people like this. The staff was very shocked by Leon's action. "Recruit people, is it always this obvious?" Leon crossed his arms, asked angrily, "Since then, we have not seen anyone satisfied. What's the next test?" The staff said, "Well, it's a practical test at the gate." Leon sounded satisfied, softer voice, "Good. Originally, true strength would be shown in regular training sessions in practical combat. We will visit." The staff who witnessed this strange attitude could only remain speechless. It's not about visiting, it's about participating. Go to the next inspection area, the employee asked. Does everyone not have symptoms of dizziness? When passing through the gate, there will be people who feel dizzy. Normally, completed ports will be closed and deleted, but still intentionally left a few dungeons out for the sake of it. This place, Seoul Station Gate, is also one of them. Before the test, Wu was a bit nervous. This year's measurement is not too different from last year. To reverse the assessment, I have to be positive in this practical test. Meanwhile, the group of rookies couldn't help but admire. Wow, so this is the gate? Young girl looking for information on her phone, excited. Man, this place is absolutely a hotspot. Seeing my sister not concentrating, he reminded. Jinmi, first turn off your phone. Wu quietly observed. Are these two new people? In this exam there was also an old man. Ho ho, the atmosphere is great, Wu wondered. An old man over 60 years old, is it D level like me or is it C level? Then turned to Leon. Wah. The foreign worker I just met in the waiting room just now. He thought, taking the promotion exam at this age, you're probably a rookie, except for the old man. Are the rest all rookies? Seeing Leon's flashy appearance, he was very worried. Is this okay? Exam time has begun. Wu was the first to speak. Well then, let's confirm our position together. He introduced himself. Wu Ji-son, this year will be 10 years as a hunter, occupation is warrior, the main position is the dealer. Then come meet brothers Tihen and Najon. Please Tihen, awaken this year, use spear and shield. I am his sister. Please Najon, I will use the sword group, currently learning to use bow and arrow. Wu heard the two of them introduce themselves and became worried. Again, some rookies don't know how to measure their strength. He immediately asked, have those two people ever gone to school anywhere? They answered proudly, my sister and I went to the academy for 3 months. Seeing that, Wu was a bit discouraged. Wu had to turn to ask the old man, what about the old man? The old man smiled. Hien replied kindly, he is Okanti, has 5 years of experience, weapons or gloves. Even though I was awake, I was busy going to work, recently retired. Wu saw that the team members didn't have much potential and was even more worried. Too little experience compared to age. Furthermore, the weapon is a glove, it's hard to compare with spears and swords. Now only Leon remains. Wu scratched his head, confused asked, and the last person, foreign workers? Can you speak Korean? Leon observed them, silence for a long while. Then calmly replied, the king here does not fight, you cannot use a sword to kill a dragon to catch a chicken. Wu heard this strange answer and was very confused. This guy's Korean has problems. But they ignored this and started to enter the gate. Popular staff, this test only requires hunting 50 kobots. Occasionally, interesting things appear on the battlefield. If there is danger, the supervisor will come directly, so please rest assured and focus on developing your abilities. Everyone listened attentively, only Wu was thoughtful. This test, will it be okay? Just now, Wu asked Leon, this foreign member doesn't use any weapons. Najon found Leon's appearance quite attractive, so he happily started a conversation. Handsome man, let me borrow your weapon. Do you use a bow and arrow? You know how to use it. Leon held the bow and observed, tell someone like me to use it? Najon cheered, yes, just use it and return it to me. But Leon was angry for no reason. Throw the bow on the ground, knights do not use this lowly ranged weapon. Seeing weapons being thrown mercilessly, Najon panicked, my bow and arrow. She angrily scolded, hey, what are you doing? Wu saw Leon's actions and was not happy at all. He was restless and worried. If this is the case, this year's inspection will be considered a failure. But quickly regained his composure and told everyone, I know a place, let's go there and hunt. When everyone heard Wu's comments, everyone responded, you have more experience. The old man has no opinion. Tihen ran to ask Wu, there should be a herd near the end of the steppe, it's definitely more crowded there. Wu immediately explained, when the number of people is small, do not rush to touch their nests. If surrounded, the escape route cannot be guaranteed. We will attack the ones that live in the cave. We will burn leaves and grass around to blow smoke in. Then we can easily attack the kobots in the cave. Listening to the explanation could not be more convincing. The two brothers were very impressed. People with experience are different. Wu is very happy when complimented. Nothing, this is nothing to be proud of. He thought to himself, I have learned and researched all attack methods. Imagine that one day you will enter the highest gate, although it is always the soul gate. This time I have to level up. When will I get D rank? Suddenly Tihen stopped. He was a little scared. In front is the kobot. See humans, the ferocious kobots rushed forward. Wu commanded, Tihen, use your shield to block the front. Yes. Suddenly, a kobot bared its sharp teeth and charged from behind. But Tihen promptly defeated him with a spear. He was pleased, stupid people. Talking to yourself, if you keep attacking directly like this, it will be too easy to block. Suddenly, Najon shouted, older brother, next to. But before Tihen understood what happened, a kobot rushed forward. It attacked him, causing him to fall backwards. In the most critical moment, when the aggressive kobot was about to eat Tihen, Wu destroyed it, saved Tihen's life. Wu shouted, "Don't be negligent, they are weak but act very quickly." Everyone heard that. Concentrate on fighting. Nejan took down 2 kobolds in quick succession with his bow and arrow. Old Okanti also punched away a few monsters. Done, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Wu encouraged everyone, "Very good, not much anymore, let's go quickly." "It's all been hard." Tihan gloomily told everyone, "I'm sorry, it's my fault." Wu saw that and immediately comforted him, "No problem, everyone has their first time." Nejan has also dealt with 2 of them. Thanks to the old man, no one was injured. Everyone did great, Wu thought to himself, maybe. At first I was a bit dissatisfied, but it seems that this group is not bad. Except for one person. Think so, he turned to ask Leon, "Hey, foreign brother, we fought together but why didn't you do anything?" Nejan also agrees with this opinion, "That's right." She turned to ask the staff, he just stood there watching from behind, "Staff, is it okay to do that?" The employee scratched his head and smiled, "All will be fully reflected, please don't worry." Hearing that, everyone felt secure, Wu said. "Well then, let's go deeper, a cave will appear." But they didn't have to go far before they saw Kobut's cave, huh? "Here we come." Tihan was delighted, "There's a real cave," Wu said, "let's light the fire like I said earlier." Following the instructions, everyone gathered dry grass. Gathered dry grass in front of the cave entrance. Wu took out the lighter from his pocket. Just as he was about to light the fire, Leon asked, "Do you really think this is the best way?" Seeing Leon doing nothing but liking many things, Wu upset, "Huh? Now you haven't helped anything and what nonsense are you talking about?" Leon also frowned and said, "I wonder if that way is the best? Don't make me say it twice." Wu is upset, "I have used this method 3 times already, all 3 times were successful," Leon continued, "based on experience, it's not bad either." "But, how can you rely on experience when it is still not certain enough?" Wu heard this and shouted angrily, "Hey, what do you know when you're young? Then just light the fire." The fire broke out. Wu said, "Everyone gather together, soon a few will come out of the cave." "Yes, everything is ready." Tihan shouted, "Come." Right away, a flock of kobolds rushed out. They rushed aggressively. "Nejan Yang Palace, it's time." Wu threw rocks at the kobold. The scene became very chaotic, kobolds continuously burst out from the cave, and Wu's group was prepared to deal with them. Wu is proud, indeed, our way cannot be wrong. They continuously attacked the kobolds, very good, just handle it like that. He was secretly happy that he had dealt with all of these people, then just need to catch the few remaining ones on the step. But before the fun could last long, I heard a scary howl. This howl, the leader of the pack. Saw the big monster, he panicked, "No way, the leader is the boss of this soul gate, ranked higher than sea level. Why did it appear now?" This rather large bipedal leader roared, the scream was deafening, its strength is sea level or higher. Seeing the unstable situation, Nejan can only name the most experienced captain here, Mr. Wu Jisong. His face is gradually turning pale, it seems he is not sure where he is going, he himself did not expect this situation. But very quickly, team leader Jisong also outlined a strategy for everyone, "Me and Tihan will fight the leader, Mr. Lau and MS Nejan, please stop the kobold monsters in the cave, everyone take action." The situation is so dangerous that it hangs by a thread, Jisong's mind turned quickly, at least one experienced person is needed on each side, if not, any team will fall apart, can't fight anymore. Furthermore, it would be a suicidal act for D-rank to face off against a leader that was as strong as C-rank without protection for the front line, fighting without strategy is just suicide. Jisong thought a lot, even though he was a rookie, he could only hope that tanker Tihan could hold out for a bit, but no matter how hard you try to hold it, you should find a way to defeat it before Tihan reaches his limit. It's a pretty strong boss, stronger than everyone standing here combined, no one can predict its movements, rookie Tihan had never faced such a monster before, the leader's disgusting appearance frightened him. The monster was unimaginably strong to them, just like that, it rushed straight up, it opened its mouth as big as a sandbag and roared ferociously, but with that big and strong body. It succeeded in making tanker Tihan completely weak, without the will to resist. Team leader Jisong is extremely worried about this situation, because he was the only one in the group who had a lot of real combat experience and was able to block its attacks. He kept saying Tihan's name, calm down, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't, the boss's aura overwhelmed his spirit. If Mr. Tihan keeps like that, he won't be able to block that attack. The sword, as big and long as Tihan's entire body, was about to swing down, but he still stood there, not knowing what was happening around him. Tihan still couldn't believe his eyes, but still reacted in time to counter that attack. But its force was too strong, he could not hold the shield, losing his only shield, his shield is no longer effective. Mr. Tihan, damn, this is not okay, Jisong stood next to him but couldn't do anything, everything is gradually getting out of control. Tihan still hasn't regained his composure yet, the body sat on the ground, unable to do anything, his body was shaking at this moment, he could only sit there waiting to die. Everyone is confused. This is just a ranking contest. The contestants are already close to the threshold of death. Why don't association staff come forward to help? They said that if they were in danger, they would help. Just like that, what will become of Tihan? The teeth of that huge monster were aiming at Tihan. Drool was flowing freely, looking extremely disgusting. I hope you will survive this ordeal. Damn it, as the team leader leading this competition, he could only stand by and watch as his member was about to be eaten. It's so heartless, so uncomfortable, so humiliating. Jisung could only grit his teeth and watch. Because he knew that if he rushed in, they would both die. This monster started jumping up and down. But what's the point of having this title of captain if you can't protect your members? Never mind, this network only has one, but the dream will not come true if you give up now. Mr. Tihan, step back quickly. Tihan's shield was already thrown away. Now Jisung quickly picked it up. Use it to decide a fierce battle with this boss. This boss continued to swing his sword a second time. It looks really heavy. If you take this attack completely, you will go to heaven. Actually swung the knife. This slash is very strong until it hits. The ground shook, sand, gravel, and rocks flew out from everywhere. But everything happened so quickly, so fast that it wanted to surprise people. Tihan's porch was used skillfully by Jisung. He successfully blocked the attack weighing thousands of kilograms, successfully defended Tihan. Faced with the surprise of the boss, it could only growl in anger. But this attack truly exceeded Jisung's tolerance limit. He tensed up with difficulty. Use all your strength to endure. But in the end, it's impossible to go one-on-one with a monster stronger than yourself. He is wiser. Use force to tilt the shield. Deflect the slash and the blade slashes straight to the ground. The stupid-looking monster with developed limbs was surprised by his rather satisfying handling. But having its strongest attack blocked made it extremely angry. Immediately it raised the sword again. Can it be stopped? This thought covered all of Jisung's thoughts. He was completely limp like Tihan. Completely collapsed before the powerful demeanor of this monster. If Mr. Tihan doesn't wake up and keeps getting attacked by that insect, how can I escape? There's really nothing that makes him more scared than the monster standing in front of him. If this continues, you will die. Jisung had completely surrendered. I've given up. TCH, considered enough points to pass. That sword slashed down, thought everything was over, but right then an arm with just 2 fingers clamped onto the blade completely blocked it. That's Lianha. He appeared like a savior, but actions and words seemed to contradict each other. He said, try again. Jisung was still dreamy at this time. For a moment I didn't understand. What are you saying? He was blocking the boss's attack with just 2 fingers. Lianha glanced. I said pick up the shield and fight again. If you've done it once, why can't you do it a second time? Hey, quickly stand up and pick up your shield. Jisung was bewildered and still didn't understand what his colleague meant. Huh? Oh. I tell you to block its attack and counterattack. Hurry up. That powerful monster saw Lianha and sweat poured out of nowhere. It is at the bottom of anxiety, but Jisung still couldn't understand. Not now. What are you talking about? The current situation is that everyone is losing. You can't just rush forward recklessly. Don't you see the current situation? Everyone is in danger. It sounds like Jisung is teaching Lianha how to look at the situation, and he started his famous viral TV show. How insolent. You should feel honored to receive the teachings of the Lion King Tam. Don't you dare to give your opinion. For a free soldier to become a knight taught by the king is a family honor passed down from generation to generation. It is impossible to repay all gratitude like ocean waves. If the monster is worried, he will still be worried, and the scared Jisung is still scared. Only the sound from Lianha's mouth made the whole space change 360 degrees. Hold your shield and counterattack, Lianha said, but Jisung still felt frustrated. What did I do wrong? To be scolded like a father scolds his child. But to survive, I have to do anything. In front of Jisung was a monster 3 meters large. It is threatening to attack at any time. Its sharp teeth are growling, like being starved for too long, added bright red eyes accompanied by the face of a wild boar. It looks so scary. Without further hesitation, it immediately rushed forward to attack, but it looked like his eyes were stunned, encountered a serious problem. It rushed towards Lianha. In front of him was such a huge monster, but Lianha just sighed. Unexpectedly, it dared to attack. This dog, are you crazy? He only looked at it once, but with an angry face. This way, even calling the boss to come can't save me this time. As it prepared to attack, as it got closer, its eyes were less shocked. Seeing Lianha so angry, he didn't dare to say anything more. Luckily nothing more was done. If not, you'll be able to go to heaven and meet your creator again. Unable to attack Lianha, it now begins to shift its target to Jisung, but his body was still scared. However, it still tries harder than many people standing here. It still attacks Jisung. He was very surprised but still managed to cope. Both were thrown out. The sound was terrifying when sword and shield collided. But it seems that the other boss is more comprehensive. Jisung almost couldn't stand it, but still constantly reassured myself. Encourage yourself, you can do it, be strong. I almost lost my shield. With just that attack, Lianha saw Jisung's shortcomings. You idiot, if you hold a shield, how can you block it with just strength? He stood there, arms folded together. Give direction, don't go head to head with things whose power far exceeds yours. Take out your weapon and aim at the weak point. It's clear that with just one move, he created a lecture. How can you succeed with just a shield? The opponent is not a dummy, but a beast that is alive and knows how to learn. Use your head to think. With such a long series of back and forths, who could understand? Ah, damn, what should I say? Just neglected a bit. Ji-song was almost cut in half, but Lianha quickly kicked the back of the knee, causing Ji-song to kneel, but luckily he escaped with one life. He reminded, not to take your eyes off the enemy. I was able to keep my life and shed tears of joy. Just now, if it weren't for him, I would have died. Concentrate. Lianha seems very interested in Ji-song. Don't bury your talent, he said. Let's take out the potential power. You can do better than that, but still with the same arrogant attitude of a king. But the developments are not important. What matters is the result. Just that sentence made Ji-song's brain completely clear. Do I have talent? I was a D-class for 10 years, doesn't have any unique skills, just accidentally awakened. There's no way that would be the case. It sounded like he was talking to himself, but he is very strong. What he said was somewhat trustworthy, worth trying once. Hear those words of encouragement. There's no way I don't have talent. A wise man once said, if you risk too much, you eat more. If you don't risk, you eat less. This time, I can do it. It seems like it's been decided. The magnificent castle awaits ahead. Why get stuck by this pig? It's like a hunter, baring his fangs and claws to attack first. I can, now there's nothing left to lose. I can do it. Ji-song has made up his mind. Get a brilliant flower to change your life, or trample on the flower of opportunity that was given to me. The boss's sword was swung down again. The shield in Ji-song's hand showed the powerful slash from that sword. But if the strength is equal to the difference in strength, the direct response will only be the same as before. Ji-song tilted the shield to one side, pushed the sword slowly down the trajectory. Ji-song was delighted. It's successful. I stopped it. I caused the slash to deflect and hit the ground. I have become, but not yet happy. It was so fun that I forgot about the match, blocked a blow and pretended to have one. Such people will often pay a very high price. Not unexpected, the knife was stuck straight into the ground, but its front legs were still more flexible than the way your ex-lover left you. Ji-song received a full punch from that monster and rolled straight away, lie face down on the ground. It seemed like he couldn't bear it anymore and passed out. It's true that he has potential but is too naive. Lianha stood outside and saw that but could only sigh. How can you not look at the whole picture? I've only blocked one attack but I'm already subjective. It still seems very weak. This year's verdict of Wu Ji-song is somewhat disappointing. It's all over. Back in Lianha's office, someone's voice rang out. He already knows. Right from the start? Lianha calmly replied, there's no way a warrior of that caliber could be an ordinary person. Ha ha. I even wore an illusory mask to hide my body and face, but it seems like it doesn't make any sense. That person took off his mask. It was the president of the Korean Hunter Association, Oh Kong-hoon. He continued, this time you directly participated in the evaluation and did you get what you wanted? Lianha closed his eyes and spoke. Normally, I would have supervised the candidate for the position of knight. Besides, even if I don't feel impatient, I have no intention of going abroad. Hearing this, Association President Oh Kong-hoon was startled and realized something. Unexpectedly, this Lianha guy is really very sharp. Nothing can escape the eye, he confessed. This is truly a correct guess. It seems that His Majesty's majesty is so strong that the mood is a bit tense. Similar to the appearance from before, after all, it was a D-class dungeon monster. That boss monster was estimated to be more than C-class. But I have to say this Lianha is really strong, but he is very proud of himself. He just pointed up and said, dirty people can't even become human. How long are you planning to look at my beauty? Having said that, Lianha did not let the previous boss wait too long. With just one finger, he pushed the monster far away. Recalling Lianha's powerful scene at that time, Mr. Oh Kong-hoon smiled and praised, you really treat it like a toy. He laughed when his generation also had this rather elegant hobby. Lianha looked at him with a rather speechless expression. He thought back to that place. The face has no emotions at all. That random place is not a place to stroll. Two people sit on opposite sides of each other. In short, if your majesty wants to establish an association, we will help you. Your majesty also guessed this, right? He seemed quite knowledgeable about this era. There is no easier way than reputation. When you have a reputation, it will be easier to gather people. In this age there are not many ways to spread fame such as force. There is a gate that was upgraded to red because it failed in the Chengdu attack. Speaking of this, old Oh Kong-hoon's face became sharp. It is a place that no one can complete in a year, a scene of devastation, white bones everywhere. Old Oh Kong-hoon finally stated his purpose, that is, he wants Lianha to take the jewel of wisdom held by Jako Serpin. That's the boss monster of the special gate that has been upgraded to red. And please destroy it. At the gate of Chengdu Stadium, the first attacking team slowly entered. Everyone has finished preparing. The expressions on the faces of the members of the association were also serious as they entered the special red gate. One of the guys inside said, "Hey, this is the place," but before he could say more, the team leader had already cut the cyst. "I know. The scenery here is modern civilization, anyway, at least a more developed civilization than Earth." The only girl in the team, with the brightest yellow hair, said to the president, "It's truly magical, this is the gate to the future world," and he responded immediately, "Once there is fantasy or martial arts, there is no such thing as a future world." The boy from before continued to discover something strange and told the president, "This is a server vulnerability." The president also saw that and lamented, "What a headache, if so, then we have to change our strategy when fighting monsters." The brother from earlier continued, "That's right, because the bounty hunter's strategy is to fight against a few strong enemies." The president continued to observe the surroundings and at the same time constantly thought about strategies and countermeasures for the team. After a while, he finally spoke, "Choose that building over there as your base. The higher it is, the easier it is to see." Everyone entered the building, where the president proposed. The president asked, "Hosea, do you see anything?" The person holding the position of outside observer, Hosea, replied with a strange look, "Well, there really isn't anything. There isn't a single NPC, didn't see any monsters either." "Where is Jaku Serpin?" "Looks like it's the boss here," the captain continued to ask, but Hosea's answer disappointed him, "Absolutely not seen." "That's strange, in a big city like this, not having a single human or monster is truly strange." Suddenly, a moving object fell into the two people's sight. It's the resistance army. Luckily, his team did not have to face the army of a cruel dictatorial government. The president shouted to gather everyone. The entire assembly paid attention. He reminded his team members, "Although we have entered the gate, information about Jaku Serpin is still lacking. Anyway, we have to secure the surrounding area and pick out a reconnaissance team and try to advance." Map, haven't finished speaking yet. A source of energy like a bullet of light penetrated straight through the captain's head. His head was shot to pieces while his body was still standing upright. No one had time to react, including the owner. The person closest to the captain is Hosea. The captain's blood splattered on his face and body. His face was full of surprise and horror. It seems unbelievable. Hosea could only unconsciously call the name of his late captain, Mr. Hansu. People standing further away had the same feeling. His face also had an expression of utter disbelief, both confused and scared. I don't know who regained consciousness first, but that person shouted to announce the reason why Captain Hansa collapsed and woke everyone up from their daze. "It's a shooting. Everyone quickly hide." As soon as the words ended, a new round of gunfire took place. Automatic guns were equipped everywhere in the building and opened fire simultaneously, creates a rain of bombs and bullets that mortals cannot survive if they are caught in it. The rest of the team could only run frantically to escape the barrage of automatic machine guns attacking from all sides. Hosea looked at a female teammate falling in front of him. Hosea couldn't do anything more. Crazy, Hansu, an A-level tanker, couldn't react in time. How to take it down? The captain is dead. Now the person who has a headache thinking about how to deal with this difficult situation is Hosea, the team's vice-captain. Hiding behind a rock to avoid the machine gun's powerful shooting power, Hosea angrily cursed, "Damned, if you do that, everyone will die." Then asked the blonde girl hiding in the same place as him, "Have you determined the enemy's location yet?" The girl also very quickly determined the direction of the enemy's attack. The direction is 3 o'clock. But because of the dust and smoke, it is impossible to calculate the distance. Then she turned to talk to him with a fervent expression, "Vice President, the ground can't stand it anymore." Hosea also responded immediately and made the decision, "I know." Everyone retreated one by one. He shouted loudly, signaling to everyone remaining in the team, "Hurry up and get out. The building is about to collapse. Hear your command." Everyone quickly ran out. The blonde girl ran next to him and asked about the president. "What about the vice president and the president's body?" The critical situation did not allow him to do that, so he answered her, "Something is very strange. Get it sorted out and we'll come find you later." Then he immediately assigned more tasks to her. Easy? She went first to see if there was a safe exit. The girl also immediately ran faster to receive the mission. "Yes, I went before." After moving forward and looking around, she shouted back to announce the news, "Vice President, I don't feel any signs. It seems the exit is safe." Next, she rushed out straight through the door in front of her. Suddenly her quick movement stopped, her face turned into panic. Oh, she felt something was different. Her neck has a red string of some kind. To be exact, her neck had been severed, with a very sharp cut. It's like drawing a line on the neck. Why does she feel entangled? At the same time, wires appeared all around. That was also the time she ended her life. Everyone inside knows Heezy's condition best, especially Hosea. "Today I have witnessed too much loss." Hosea's eyes opened wide. He called with a trembling voice, "Heezy." On the outside is the steel wire in front of everyone. The place where Heezy passed was drenched in blood. Since when have steel wires been woven everywhere? There is no space for people to escape. Hosea was so angry that he was about to go crazy. "Damned, clean it all up, must escape from here at all costs." Hosea ordered everyone to act, quickly transfer mana and weapons, steel wire is also normal. Then, he took the lead and cut off the steel wires in front of him, just frantically cutting the steel wire. He just thought about who the enemy was, really a person? Since when has he noticed us? While Hosea was wondering that, the team's location was also discovered. The machine gun robot from earlier had detected everyone's location. Its shape is like a spider. Maybe it was he who spread steel spider webs everywhere in the city. While not paying attention, the robot released the bullet it used to finish off Captain Hansu. The bullet shot straight towards the vice president. Next came the non-stop attacks from the spider robot. Screams of pain echoed everywhere, blood flowed freely. After the storming attack, the ground was shattered, blood was splattered all over the steel wires, only Hosea remained alive. He widened his eyes and looked around, all there was rubble and the corpses of comrades. At this point, he was no longer afraid of death, all he wants is revenge for his teammates. He wanted to know who killed all his comrades. Please appear soon. That damn bastard just finished speaking. He finally saw the villain who caused all the pain he endured. Robots? See the robot, his facial expression was a bit different. Is it you? Are you Jaco Serpin? How are you? He began to remember the benefits of this robot. If you could have it, if you had this robot. In an urgent situation, you can still fight even when you lack bullets. Knowing that this time the target was the cause of the death of his teammates, he shouted frantically, "This monster, okay, very good, better yet, kill all of our members. Don't let me wait too long." The robot also quickly launches attacks when it detects a target. Along with this mechanical noise, Vice Captain Hosea's body was also cut into small pieces. At the same time, a voice rang out, "Don't know if it's in the past or present, don't know who it is for, that saying helps us protect the city." Chengdu Gate, 58 hunters. The first attack team had no survivors, the second attack team, the third attack team, blood flowed everywhere, no one could return after entering that place. Finally, the association decided to raise the difficulty level of attacking Jaco Serpin, the gate's boss, to red and suspend attacking Chengdu Gate indefinitely. At this moment, a sound came out like a heavy hammer, hitting the ground hard. A group of grumpy-looking people appeared. A tall guy with braided hair lamented, "This damn weather is as unpleasant as ever seen in videos." Next, he was a small guy with half his head shaved, looking quite stylish. "Don't go into the inner city. The deeper you go into the inner city, the higher the probability of meeting Jaco Serpin." At this time, another group of people appeared dressed like gangsters. The white-haired leader replied, "So let's go according to what was discussed before. We will recover the gem of knowledge about the magic tower. All remaining 60 billion cash credits will be transferred to the Golden Lion Association. The number of people entering the gate of Chengdu Stadium is." That is the Golden Lion, the 10th highest guild in Korea, S-rank Hang Gumcheo guild leader, A-rank Hang Jiha vice president, 47 members, belongs to Zaitsong Magic, pure S, mercenary, 48 members. And Korean Hunter Association A-rank Han Haji, but right now Han Haji had a very gentle expression on his face. "Your Majesty, you must definitely try it. Hold the cup and drink tea aristocratically." Leon Ha opened his mouth to praise. Not bad. What is this tea called?" "This is called barley tea, dear sir." At the same time, Han Haji's reluctant answer was due to the strange way of addressing her that she had not yet adapted to. The surrounding scene began to appear as a pile of ruins, but the two of them were still enjoying pouring tea, not appropriate for the situation at all. But it's not just the two of them, there's also one more person. The scene turns to the gate of Chengdu Stadium at the start of the 4th offensive battle. At the famous camp of the 4th conquest team at Chengdu Gate. Everyone was busy walking around. A voice rang out, "What's wrong?" That's Leon Ha's voice. He was sitting and asking Han Haji, standing next to her. She also answered honestly, "I'm worried that things are going pretty smoothly, but at the same time it doesn't look like it'll be peaceful much longer." Silence for a long while, then she still decided to speak out. "This seems like a difficult thing to say. Honestly, I think the best situation is if everything can be resolved without your Majesty having to get involved, but if that were the case, he would not have the opportunity to increase his reputation." Hearing Han Haji's confession, Leon Ha replied with a light smile, "Yes, that's the best possible situation. If King Leon Han himself did not directly intervene, then this would mean that the situation was not so bad." Then, he asked a question to Han Haji, who was standing next to him with a bewildered expression, probably because she didn't think he would answer so softly. "What do you think is the role of a king in the country where I once ruled?" Haji replied, "The place you govern." Hearing Haji's uncertain answer, Leon Ha continued to share, "That's right, anyone can take over the role of receptionist, unless it's an arrogant person. I think all rulers are the same." Han Haji continued his words, then, as the King of Knights, speaking here as if you have realized something. Now that I think about it, every time he intervened, it was only when the attack couldn't be blocked. Han Haji finally gave the correct answer. "So, the duty of Leon Ha's king is," without waiting for her to finish speaking, our arrogant king continued, "being the last stronghold." He continued, "Do you understand, if Leon Ha's king had to get involved, it would be a shame for the knights. And it shows how serious the situation is. Coincidentally, Looks like I have to step in once again, taking the place of pitiful weaklings like you. I miss my esteemed knight so much. Hearing that, Han Haji still tried to argue, but this conquest team had Mr. Hang Gumchio who was a rank S and also had a mage of rank A, so I think everything will be fine. Hearing that, Leon Ha just replied calmly, you call them hunters, right? I admit that they indeed possess superior strength compared to normal people. But, they have never once had a real war. When saying this, Leon Ha's face was as scary as a tulip in hell. That is the face of someone who has had to experience the taste of war too many times. Leon Ha continued to say, is the suburban part of the city safe? You guys must seem pretty confident with that information, even though you've only encountered the enemy 3 times. You call yourselves a subjugation team when you judge the monster's movement patterns and act according to the little information you learn. How ridiculous does that sound? Hearing that, Haji thought to himself, what he said meant. A general will know how to react depending on how the situation develops. There is no standard or model for that. From what I heard, this thing called Jaku Serpin. Before Leon Ha could finish speaking, a thunderbolt appeared, the surprise attack happened. What's going on? He's a talented warrior. Iabia, I'm sorry, this is my end. The silhouette of a girl appeared. It seemed like this was when she was about to die. She said to the robot monster Jaku Serpin, so could you do me one last favor? Eliminate any unknown objects invading the city. It turns out that everything Jaku Serpin did was because of that girl's final instructions, eliminate any unknown objects invading the city. Jaku Serpin has become a terror that instills fear in everyone. It's Jaku Serpin, find shelter quickly. The sound of machinery echoed. Jaku Serpin used his electromagnetic eyes to scan the city and identify unidentified objects. Then without a moment's hesitation, Jaku Serpin launches deadly attacks towards unknown objects it scans. Its attack was so powerful that it created a tornado on the ground. Damn it, seeing Jaku Serpin's powerful attack everyone could only curse to express their helplessness. What kind of damn monster is that? Jaku Serpin's operating system announced to itself. The living creatures responded that 23% had disappeared, and began firing to increase the suppression effect. Is condensing energy by 48%? Meanwhile, someone attacked it from behind. That was Hang Gumchio, die. He used a hammer as big and heavy as Thor's to hit Jaku Serpin hard, but it dodged. There was no problem with its hardware, but one leg was damaged. The main body has received damage and the internal pressure has increased. Changed priorities, removed unidentified object. It's too late, this iron thing, Gumsun. At the same time, Gumsun also responded. I already told you. Don't call me Gumsun. Then a powerful attack hit Jaku Serpin. At this time, the Jaku Serpin was seriously damaged. They couldn't help but give each other compliments, good job. This was followed by another powerful attack on Jaku Serpin. The white-haired guy attacked while speaking, I'll take the rest. Jaku Serpin's system kept broadcasting notifications, damage received is increasing, purge objects urgently, the radar system has been taken down. Allows use of limited resources, activate the RWR device inside the city. Target audience. Level 3 risk, priority for exclusion. At the same time the command is issued, the target radar also turned towards the white-haired man who had just given it a fatal blow. Then suddenly Jaku Serpin jumped up and escaped from the surrounded situation. Huh? Look at it, it's running, hurry up and chase it. Its speed is lightning fast. Stop, everyone frantically chased after it but were caught in its series of attacks. The white-haired guy quickly shouted loudly to inform everyone, I'll activate the jamming force field, gather a place for me. His foot suddenly stomped on the ground, causing the ground to shatter. A huge force field opened up with him as the center. It looked like a big explosion from above. He placed a barrier to protect everyone. Jaku Serpin's bullets could not penetrate the barrier he had just created. Seeing the magic of the barrier, people began to question the white-haired guy, Mr. Zeitsong? This is? The incoming projectiles were deflected. Zeitsong also did not hesitate to explain to everyone, it was some kind of magical tool created to fight Jaku Serpin. Too bad I have to use it this early. But, with no footage taken towards Jaku Serpin, the risk factor appeared to have observed an unusual condition. Start system maintenance and recovery. Observational analysis completed. Coordinates, D15S37F11. Open fire. The walls. Everyone inside the barrier was safe, but, suddenly, a bullet pierced through and killed the person standing next to Zeitsong. This happened before his eyes, making Zeitsong very surprised. Impossible. Has it already calculated the direction of the projectile to create a curvature that passes through the shield? Zeitsong was really scared. What the hell is that thing? How is that? Right now, his force field cannot help people but can even hinder them. Mage Zeitsong, please turn off that jamming force field. Predicting the trajectory of the current projectile has become too difficult. Aware of the situation, Zaitsong also acted immediately. Damn it, I'm turning it off. Attack as soon as the force field turns off. People started coming backwards. 3, 2, 1. That is, something appeared in Hang Gumchio's eyes. Everyone stop. Thanks to his acumen, Hang Gumchio discovered something strange. A pile of steel threads continued to appear. They blocked every path. There is not a single loophole that prevents people from moving easily to fight. Everyone has also discovered that it is a star wire. It turns out that he didn't just run away at that time. Everyone couldn't help but be confused, wondering how it could arrange all of this. That's so scary. And Jaku Serpin is in the process of charging. Zaitsong couldn't believe it and started stuttering. No way, how the hell can I do that? We gathered in one place so we could avoid the fire, but it turned out to be a fatal mistake. Now there's no way to move to avoid the fire. Jaku Serpin's charging process is complete, ready to fire. But suddenly it stopped. The people who were desperately trapped in the pile of spider silk also realized that this sound was. A white horse ran forward amidst the storm of bombs and bullets, and piles of steel thread spread everywhere. Is that the sound of a horse? That horse rushed with unbelievable power. Following its path, it also cut through the steel wires woven everywhere. A long, slender hand gently placed on the white horse's neck, full of authority. It's been a while. My old friend Lianha finally appeared with a noble demeanor. Leo climbed onto the back of his beloved steed. Then very slowly approaching the place where everyone was stuck, position in front of enemy fire. Get there without any problems. Lianha, what horse again? Lianha shouted loudly. Soldier, listen, think you are the king on the battlefield. Courage can help you advance into enemy positions even alone. I, King Lianha, greatly value such people. I give you glory under my esteem. In an honorable duel, I grant you the royal right to fight with me. Oh warrior, listen to Lianha's medieval and aristocratic appeal with a mindless machine. Everyone showed the same expression, cannot be described in words. Is he crazy? Everyone thought Lianha was not normal. Yes, but it's really not normal. Lianha's call and challenge is not over yet. I grant you the honor of meeting my face and the honor of fighting with the king like me. Warriors, I give you permission to fight me. The warriors in Lianha's call were looking dazed. They must have lost hope with this crazy guy. Not just them, even Jaku Serpin wondered if something was wrong with that guy. Jaku Serpin begins setting up. Set the acceleration time of the electromagnetic gun, capacity increased by 13%, danger level, are not, eliminate uncertainties. Along with the attack from Jaku Serpin, Lianha also rode in with a battle cry, just step up. Hey warriors, Lianha's spear was also taken out by him. Everything has started for a thrilling battle. Lianha's steed also looked like a brave warrior, gallop to gallop. Jaku Serpin also did not stand still and endure the battle. It rushes up and activates, open fire. Lianha's expression now resembles the face of medieval kings in a fierce battle. Challenge, every word he says is a great source of motivation. Hey warriors, don't let those mediocre ranged weapons attack you. Lianha passed through the rain of bombs and bullets with ease. Robot Jaku Serpin also refused to give up, continue to launch large damaging bullets towards Lianha. Ride on your beloved steed. Lianha ran as fast as lightning. The large gauge spear in his hand was lightly waved to block all incoming bullets. His face was full of battle blood and his eyes glowed like the sun, truly worthy of the title of demigod. A huge explosion was created, destroying everything around. Screws, springs, every part was broken and thrown out. Lianha's spear stabbed straight at Jaku Serpin. For a fleeting moment, the advanced AI capabilities of the Jaku Serpin self-propelled fortress stopped working. This phenomenon happened before my eyes, even logical arguments cannot explain it. It's so powerful. Lianha had a satisfied smile on his lips. Jaku Serpin conducted an analysis of the equipment, the weapon that Lianha is carrying. It was an old-fashioned spear. Although the speed is fast, the damage is not great. Danger level no, don't even have to deal with it, just use the electromagnetic rifle to attack. The intelligence of machines has made extremely wise choices. 3 seconds earlier, a thin layer of membrane blocking small objects had been formed. A movement pattern with unusual physical phenomena was recorded within the assumed range. Before 2 seconds, continue to fire the bullet of the electromagnetic rifle, eliminating the target with the next shot as soon as the target comes into the assumed range. And before that, with 1 second left, the bullet was knocked out. Does not go through the collision or containment process, but only has the result of being knocked out without going through any other process. Next is a powerful stabbing skill that all knights can use. Even though it is the most powerful artificial intelligence super weapon in humanity, it still must comply with the rules of physics. Lianha thought to himself, with the blessing of the Holy Dharma, knights always gain strength in any attack. Being able to defeat your opponent unconditionally at once. After defeating Jaku Serpin, Lianha rode on horseback and looked over this ruined place. Physical phenomena that cannot be explained by logical reasoning cannot be understood. The persistent Jaku Serpin is not dead yet. It is still actively doing the measuring task. The enemy's threat level is forced to increase, danger level from 0 to 5. Must leave the battlefield immediately. As soon as it decided that, it immediately released a mist to cover Leon Ha's eyes so he could escape. Seeing Jaku Serpent's escape behavior, Leon Ha pondered. Like running away? The memory of the woman instructing Jaku Serpent resurfaced. Iabia, please protect this place. Don't let anyone get close. Temporarily handle 5 regular bullets and 36 homemade bullets. Need to make 657 bullets that can use 60mm machine gun. It is necessary to check for damage and refine weapons when used. Danger level 5, old-style combat weapons but strength cannot be judged. Work is underway to recreate and analyze competitor information. Return to base area. Jaku Serpent actively repairs and analyzes enemy information. Iabia, thank you for protecting this city. Recovery and analysis completed. The mission can be continued. Chengdu Sports Complex Area B. Everyone is gathered in one place. Suddenly Hang Gumchio spoke, stop. 250 m forward, the alley across the street, some bastard set off a firecracker. One person proposes a plan, warriors in the distance should climb to the opposite building, be careful, the rest of you wait here, if that bastard notices us, please alert me. Suddenly he discovered something. The steel spider silk is tightly sealed, the dead bodies of his comrades were lying around, not a single body remained intact. His expression turned to horror, that is. Some name, suddenly, behind him there was a noise. Some bastard. Immediately slash backwards, but nothing appeared, obviously. A red line suddenly appeared on his face, it's steel wire. The steel wire cut him into many pieces. Fresh blood splashed, at that time, Jaku Serpent's figure also appeared. Completely eliminate 5 external variables. A loud scream suddenly rang out behind Jaku Serpent. Or not, I don't want to die. Then he ran as fast as he could to confirm that the living creature still existed. Danger level no. The survivor ran out. Because he was so scared, he tripped and fell face down on the ground. Looking at Jaku Serpent slowly walking forward, he shouted loudly, someone save me, I don't want to die. Then he stood up and ran towards what appeared to be a grave and hid behind it. Jaku Serpent slowly approached. One of its legs raised up, prepare to end the other person's life. Suddenly the memory appeared again, Iabia, remember this? Sooner or later I will be buried here like everyone else, if so, then we will forever become a part of this city. At that time, let's protect this city for me, Iabia. According to Priority Order Analysis 2, attack the intruder. According to Analysis, Priority Order 3, destroy them. Free judgment, make direct decisions when detecting enemies. In special cases, the order of priority will have to be changed. Seeing Jaku Serpent suddenly stopped moving, the remaining survivor thought happily, am I saved? That's right, Jaku Serpent jumped up and moved somewhere else. It's okay, kid, a voice from behind made him turn around in surprise. Zaitsong and a few others approached. The survivor thought it was thanks to him that the machine left, so he spoke frantically, Mr. Zaitsong, thank you, what's up? That machine didn't kill me but just ran away. Could it be that Mr. Zaitsong came? Because he was afraid of being harmed, did he leave? A guy behind Zaitsong replied with a flattering look, of course it is, fighting Mr. Zaitsong was too much for that machine. This place is full of graves, but the strange thing is that this place is very clean, but this is the only clean place in the whole city, why is that? Jump to Jaku Serpent, it is going everywhere to destroy the remaining ones. Confirmed increase in hostile forces, 92% winning rate, special circumstances therefore determine the final decision, withdrew. Zaitsong told everyone this was a strange place, please leave quickly, all are in agreement, yes. The final decisive priority is protecting the people, even if those people are all dead. It turns out that Jaku Serpent's reason for stopping was like that. It continued to enter the charging area, prepare carefully for battle. It is estimated that the remaining enemy troops are about 49 people, risk level 5. The probability of defeating threat factors is 37.5%, continue to monitor and observe the battle. Suddenly, someone appeared in its charging room, interrupted Jaku Serpent's data analysis. Here it is. The person who came was Leon Ha. Tae smiled and asked. Did you have fun playing with those kids? Leon is a person who greatly admires the spirit of chivalry. It's really not an exaggeration to call him the reincarnation of a person with the spirit of chivalry. He abhorred mutual killings, always pursuing fair fights. Okay, are you ready yet? Jaku Serpent immediately took a fighting stance when he saw the enemy. But of course, sometimes opponents will always find ways to play dirty. Even so, Leon never lost his chivalrous knightly virtues. Even if he is knocked down, this knight's incarnation will not yield. He is sometimes extremely strong, he was chosen by the gods because of that. After Jaco Serpent's attack, Leon Ha was unharmed. He took out his weapon from the air and calmly talked to himself. Fight machines for honor, sounds so absurd, right? Check equipment, 480 artillery shells. Open fire. Jaco Serpent didn't care what he said, just attacked frantically. The protection of the fence, the protection of the holy Dharma, Jaco Serpent's bullets couldn't reach him. The most crowded model, an unusual physical phenomenon, bending trajectory analysis, location F12N23Q31. Open fire. Before Jaco Serpent's attack, Leon Ha smiled extremely confidently. His feet stomped hard on the ground. Calmly wait for the bullets. Suddenly Jaco Serpent had to change positions. This makes it surprising. Leon Ha's spear, suddenly he rushed forward and crashed right into the ground next to it. Jaco Serpent saw this and quickly backed away. But when it saw it, its mechanical body couldn't help but be surprised. I don't know when Leon Ha escaped the rain of bombs and bullets and rode his black horse straight towards it. Leon Ha's face was now filled with murderous intent. Jaco Serpent immediately retreated back. Then he continuously fired bullets non-stop towards Leon Ha. But even though the distance is so close, the system still recognizes it, unable to hit the target. Seeing Jaco Serpent preparing to flee again, Leon Ha smiled and said, "Do you want to play hide and seek with me?" "That's impossible." Jaco Serpent rushed out of here. Leon Ha is also determined not to let it escape anymore. "That's impossible. Why does an ordinary person have such power?" Jaco Serpent wondered. "See the steel bar in front of you." Jaco Serpent wrapped his legs around it. Then gained momentum to rush away quickly. At the same time, the inanimate machinery inside it is also wondering, this cannot be true. Leon Ha is still chasing closely behind. Let's attack, take down the target. One person and one machine attack each other directly. Leon Ha's warhorse is also extremely crazy. Then they separated again, stand facing each other. Leon Ha seems to be thinking about something. He commented, "Pretty good." Hearing that, Jaco Serpent remained silent and did nothing. Next, Jaco Serpent and Leon Ha's steed simultaneously attacked. Jaco Serpent jumped up and sent a rain of bullets downward. Leon Ha's horse quickly and sharply avoided many dangerous projectiles. One person and one horse worked together extremely well. Jaco Serpent continued to fire bullets. It shot so much that it seemed like there was a huge explosion in the air. Debris, rocks, and gravel flew everywhere, dark smoke and dust. Leon Ha shouted as he rushed forward. The horse's hooves fluttered. Leon Ha's warhorse stepped on debris and galloped straight into the air, where Jaco Serpent was quietly attacking them. Very quickly, Leon Ha's position is higher than Jaco Serpent's. Now he and his steed seem to be flying in mid-air. Jaco Serpent continues to prepare to attack, 68 small bullets fired at the same time. Jaco Serpent continued to fire bullets wildly. But that couldn't stop Leon Ha. He rushed towards Jaco Serpent without fear, despite the bullets hitting him. Seeing that even though his bullets hit him, he couldn't do anything to Leon Ha, causing Jaco Serpent to be extremely surprised and temporarily not knowing what to do. "Leon Ha, have my pride," he shouted so loudly towards Jaco Serpent. "Then give it a fatal blow." With only one weapon, the spear in hand, he created a massive explosion no different from Jaco Serpent's attack firepower. After Leon Ha's attack, Jaco Serpent's body was only half left. Get a fatal blow, operation is disabled. At this moment, Jaco Serpent's memories surfaced again. The girl with curly hair spoke up, "The thing sealed here must absolutely not be taken out by anyone. Remember those instructions, even if I die." Jaco Serpent must also fulfill his mission and promise. Start the self-destruct process. Destroy the entire arsenal. Looking at Jaco Serpent's actions made Leon Ha stunned. Such a large explosion is a nuclear bomb. The mushroom appeared and spread throughout the city. The place that just exploded was the cargo compartment that smelled of oil. Jaco Serpent, please avoid leaving, I will protect the city, that is my duty. Memories of the old days suddenly appeared in my mind. And now, Jaco Serpent is barely alive. Its body is increasingly damaged. But it still does not forget its mission. There is only one goal. The surroundings don't return to the past, deploy fire support, protect the city. At the same time, another type of Jaco Serpent appeared, looks like a bunch of spiders. Jaco Serpent is moving towards the city and defeating the enemy. Cheers and applause. Jaco Serpent is truly a hero. The story of unmanned machines saving a city on the brink of destruction is a sweet story for city residents who are losing hope. Those machines named Jaco Serpent are symbols of hope. They have become mighty knights. And now in the Sea of Fire, they are trying to carry out their mission and final mission. The machines were like crazy monsters attacking. The Jaco Serpins were reorganized, including number 10.253 under the leadership of their commander. The city was finally secured. It's safe, the city is protected. The machines die one by one, but the comrades behind them will replace them to do this task. Until true peace is here. Once again the girl's instructions appeared. Iabia, protect the city, this is the final request. Absolutely do not take that thing out. The last remaining automatic combat machine received its final orders. Absolutely do not let anyone approach the thing, a ball containing terrible power. After all, why is that thing so closely guarded? The advice continues, stop it all and keep that thing safe. Prevent, protect, that was all that remained in Jaco Serpin's memory. They kill frantically and at the same time repeatedly prevent, protect, prevent, protect, prevent, protect. After a bombardment they were finally satisfied. Done, done. Lianha wondered about Jaco Serpin's current situation. Fall down there and still want to protect this place to the end? Looking towards where that sphere was, Lianha asked Jaco Serpin, what about the other thing? Is that what you're trying to protect? Pearl of Wisdom. At the same time that he said the name of the ball, Lianha pulled out his sword from the air. He approached the Pearl of Wisdom and said it was something that should not exist. Sensing Lianha's desire to destroy, Jaco Serpin began to move again, trying to attack. That surprised Lianha. He turned around when he saw the steel wire tied tightly to his leg. Huh, still want to fight me? It seems like someone has been trying to guard this thing for a long time. How many years have you been guarding it alone? Lianha sent Jaco Serpin his respect and praise. What a loyal knight, everyone will be grateful for your loyalty and devotion. Jaco Serpin. Your mission has been completed, I solemnly declare it all over. Lianha then attacked straight towards the intelligence stone Bo Ngoc. The impact from that made the ground shake. Light from the ground shoots straight into the sky. Bao Noc's intelligence has been completely processed. Completely destroyed by Lianha. With that, the King of Knights also sent word to Jaco Serpin, may you rest in peace. Jaco Serpin has come to the end of its life, thank you Iabia. These were the last people still on Jaco Serpin's mind. Jaco Serpin. Kang Hun and Leon go together. Kang Hun seemed a little sad. It turns out that's it. Have you destroyed Bo Ngoc? Leon asked, are you very dissatisfied? Kang Hun laughed loudly and replied, that's not true, your majesty is the one who took down Jaco Serpin, so the right to decide Bao Noc's fate of course also belongs to his majesty. But Leon was angry, you don't need to regret it, because that thing is no different from poison. Hearing that, Kang Hun was bewildered. Poison? Leon explained that the jewel was created to tempt humans thanks to their infinite intelligence and curiosity. It is an item created by the devil. When Kang Hun heard this, he was extremely shocked. Evil? Leon continued in a serious voice, at the beginning, it will listen to the owner's wishes, but gradually it will require that person to pay the price for what has been achieved. It's like raising a pet. During the feeding process it will slowly tame us like that. It will corrode our humanity thanks to trivial temptations such as the dream of longevity and immortality. Then slowly makes people lose their humanity and turn into demons in just a short period of time. Leon asks Kang Hun, has he found another gem? We must quickly destroy it. Kang Hun couldn't help but be surprised when he heard Leon's words. Is that terrible? I will promptly notify the government about this. The two of them walked for a while and came to an area with a large metal gate. Leon replied, fine. His voice was serious. However, it is very likely that someone has already been tempted by the devil. The door gradually opened. It turned out that inside was a whole laboratory. Leon asked, is this where that thing is buried? Kang Hun replied, yes, that's right. In the room, many scientists are here to do research. Jaco Serpin device. Kang Hun asked hesitantly, what should we do about it? Before that question, Leon had to think for a while. Then, my brother smiled and replied, it is a respectable knight. We should bury him and bring him before the gods. But first, we have to celebrate.